Well, I think our coaches, Kenny and his defensive staff, have done a really great job of mixing up defenses this week. But more than that, I think we're really playing with more juice. That's more competitively in the big moments of the game, and that's what's really gratifying to see. And I think it's rubbing off on our younger guys too. Well, I think what the box and one does is that it really forces you to read and react behind the ball. So you have one guy matched up trying to keep the ball away from a great player, but everyone else has license to move around and read. You got to keep your box form, but I think that helps. Actually, I think zone-type defenses always help your man-to-man defense and vice versa. So I think that's a little bit what's going on. But the foundational part of it is we're playing harder. We're playing the ball better. We're more aggressive. Our younger guys are getting the spirit of it and the intensity of it all. And I think that's what's exciting right now, that kind of elixir that flows through a good defensive team's veins at any given moment. So
another three. Got it! 62! 62! And he actually surpasses his buddy Clay. For Lamb on the other side. Clay's got a good look. His three is good! Long distance Curry. That's a three at the buzzer. Did you see him turn his back after he released his shot? Wiggins to Poole. Poole gets it off in time. For NBA history, he got it! 14 threes in a game. Has never been done until tonight. Blue with the ball. Launches. Yeah. One more week. And we are here today again for another episode of WarriorSince 91 podcast. It's your boy Izzy Too Real coming to you for another week here today, March 4th, 2023. Off of what was a great week for the Golden State Warriors this week, if I must say so myself. At the very beginning, you heard Ron Adams, who was an assistant coach and defensive coordinator for the Golden State Warriors. You heard him talking to the guys for the post-game show, talking about the defense and the adjustments and everything. And yeah, I could just say that 4-0 was the week. And how surprising, how not surprising, how great to see. It was just one of those things where it was just, hey, look what we stumbled upon. But before I even get too much deeper into that, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. Now, so this week we're going to talk about the news of the week, which is going to be hopefully the return of Steph Curry tomorrow against the Los Angeles Lakers in LA. We're going to get into our game reviews as usual, the games against the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Los Angeles Clippers, and the New Orleans Pelicans. We're also going to talk about the standings because things is looking wonderful right now I'm not going to say wonderful. Things are looking good and they're trending in the right direction as far as we are right now, with I believe 19 games to go left in the season. And then we're going to talk about the coaching because I think that that's something that we should talk about this week because of what has transpired. And not only what has transpired, but it just seems to be like maybe there is now a sense of urgency coming from the team and the coaching staff as well as the players. So that's something right there that we're going to talk about as well. And we're also going to get into some other news of the week as far as other NBA teams, like the debut of Kevin Durant for the Phoenix Suns, how they looked over there, and still the progress of James Wiseman with the Detroit Pistons. And then also there was some news that came out this morning right before I started recording this podcast, and I want to talk about that just a little bit. I'm not going to get too deep into that, but the Ja Morant suspension and what's going on with him and even the Memphis Grizzlies. So I'm probably going to talk about that in the standings part of the broadcast today, or of the episode, so we can get deeper into that, because Ja Morant, his situation right now, and just the I'll say it, the childish nature of how he's treating his career right now is something that's it's going to be in the public light for a while, and I think it's going to be something that everybody's going to be focused on for the next couple years, either until he changes his attitude and his outlook on the way he's carrying himself, or until the league shows what we know they'll do, especially to a young player. You could get suspended for more than just 2 games. So, but I'm going to talk about that later on in the standings part, where I could be able to expand on not just the Memphis Grizzlies, but other teams in the NBA as well. So we'll get into that. But let's start off here with the news of the week. The news right here for us here, which is not really that much news this week, but there's actually 2 things of big news. So we do know the return of Steph Curry is imminent. We haven't quite gotten the word yet on the officialness of Steph returning tomorrow against the LA Lakers in Los Angeles. But the word has been all week that Steph is aiming for the LA return. There's been no setbacks as of yet. There's been nothing that has kind of indicated that he won't be able to play on Sunday. So, it seems like we're headed towards the Steph Curry playing on Sunday, and that's something that I can't wait to see, especially with how the way that this team has been gelling as of late, especially after the last Laker game that happened, because it seems like that's when the run started. Well, it's not even that's when the run started after the last embarrassing loss to the Lakers in Los Angeles after the All-Star break had ended. So it's we're starting to see now that this team is starting to pick up. It's starting to play defense at a great rate so far, because the way that they've been playing defense, they've been digging in from number 1 to number 13, because they're not playing all 15 guys. So, but from 1 to number 13, or since they're probably missing like 5 guys, 6 guys, we could just say number 1 to number 9 on the team, and they've been out there playing defense. Even Ty Jerome's been out there trying to dig in a little bit on defense. Though he's not a defender, he's been out there at least trying on the defensive end. So that has been very great to see. It's been is it a sight for sore eyes? No, it's not a sight for sore eyes. It's been a great week to watch Warrior basketball. Every game they've been down double digits and came back and fought to win the game. Not even just fought back to tie the game or to lose it later on in crunch time minutes, but no, these guys have came out and they have won these basketball games. So it's been very good to see. And now with Steph Curry coming back, how the team is going to look now with Steph. The team is still going to be missing Andrew Wiggins, still going to be missing Andre Iguodala, most likely. The team will also be missing GP2. So there's still a couple of players to be able to come back and help this team make a big run towards the playoffs and try to see if they can at least get the 2nd and 3rd seed, especially knowing the parity in the Western Conference. The question will always be, well, not always, but the question will be for the remainder of the year is, can the Sacramento Kings maintain their level of play and finish out with the 3rd seed? Can the Memphis Grizzlies now, with everything that they have going on, can they maintain the 2nd seed? Denver's not going nowhere. Denver's going to remain that number 1 seed until the end of the season. It's not that I don't feel. I know nobody's catching them in that number 1 seed. So that's not nothing to worry about for Denver Nuggets fans and for the Denver Nuggets themselves. But number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 is wide open in the West. So I think that's something that the Warriors are striving for. Not that they need to, but they are striving to get there so they could be able to have some type of a home court advantage to go into the playoffs, just never knowing who you might face in the first round, hell, or even the second round. So they know how important it is to get home court advantage going through the playoffs, and I think that that's what they are playing their asses off for right now, is to make sure that they don't dip out of the playoff picture and to make sure that they get a seeding to their liking. And that's what they've been doing so far this week. Seeing that you've been missing so far 50 points out of your lineup 29 from Steph Curry, 19, I believe, from Andrew Wiggins. This is what you've been missing out of your lineup for the past, what has it been, like 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks at least, that you've been missing these guys out the lineup, and the other guys have been coming through and maintaining and keeping and staying afloat. Not only staying afloat, but they've been actually winning ball games. So now that you're going to get at least half of that 50 back with Steph Curry, maybe even more because it is Steph Curry, let's see how they can go now. Will we be able to not have as many offensive droughts as we've been having since Steph has went out? Because we'll go 4 minutes scoring drought, 3 minutes scoring drought. And this has happened every game. Every game, especially during this homestand where we won 4 in a row. It's happened every game where we've went down 10 points because we cannot score a point in 3-4 minutes. So will we still have that offensive lull when Steph gets back, having all your guns back? What's going to happen as far as the starting lineup as well? Like, will Jordan Poole still be a starter at least until Andrew Wiggins get back? Or will Jordan Poole come off the bench and they leave in Dante DiVincenzo? For me, I think that they're going to leave in Jordan. It's going to be the starting lineup of Jordan, Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Loon. I think that that's going to be your starting lineup going forward until the Wiggins situation is handled. I'm just going to be real with myself, be real with you guys. I did a bad thing with speculating, I think, a couple weeks ago on maybe what the Andrew Wiggins thing was, and that was wrong of me. I shouldn't have done that. When it comes to like family situation, and I just had something like that kind of just happen to me. So I'm not gonna speculate on what the hell's going on with Andrew Wiggins. I just wish him the best, and whenever you can come back, man, come back. Do what you gotta do, take care of business. That's what you're supposed to do as a man. So I'm not going to speak on the Andrew Wiggins thing. Just come back when you can come back. But until he does, I think that they can hold the ship. I know that they can hold the ship down, especially seeing what they just did without Steph. My thing is, because a lot of people are talking about the playoffs, I'm not going to do my predictions yet until the Sacramento game, because I believe there will be 3 games left for the season. So until the Golden State Warriors play Sacramento, then I'll give my predictions. I know what I still think it is, but I'm not going to say nothing until we get close. But as far as for this Golden State Warriors team, I know that I just want to see the combination of GP2 and Dante DiVincenzo play on the court at the same time and see what they can do to opposing guards on the other team defensively. And that's what I want to see, as well as having Draymond and or Loon out there with him, just to see this defensive lineup, because I think that that's something that teams I don't think they really want to see. And I know seeing how Dante DiVincenzo guards up and knowing how he plays defense, he can be a little pest out there. And I left out too Jonathan Kuminga. So what if you get a lineup of Jonathan Kuminga, Dante DiVincenzo, GP2, Draymond, and you gotta throw a scorer out there. So you could throw Steph or JP out there, or Clay. So you could throw either one of them out there. That defensive lineup is crazy. Even if you do have a guard that might be a liability, like a JP or even a Steph at times, that lineup defensively can do damage. And I think that's what other teams might be fearing, like, oh shit, what's going to happen if GP2 comes back? Or when GP2 comes back and this team has those 2 guards at the point of attack defense, which is part of the reason why they went and got GP anyway, because our point of attack defense has been shitty all year. So to have 2 of those guys out there now, and not only that, Kuminga, who's been guarding full court all season long, well, since he's been getting his minutes. So let's not say all season long, but since he's been getting significant minutes, he's been picking up full court against the best guard or the best wing player of the other team the past, let's just say 2 months. So to see that defensive lineup out there, I can't wait to see that. And I think that could be the telltale sign on if this team can repeat or not. It's gonna come down basically to all defense, because we know the offense is gonna be fine if there's no injuries with no one compared to, or not compared, if there's injuries to no one like the Steph Currys, the JPs, the Klay Thompsons, hell, even the Draymonds. Draymond has to be careful. He still has 15 I can't even get the word out, technical fouls. So he does have to be careful, because that 16th one will get him suspended, like it just happened to Dylan Brooks today. Dylan Brooks just got his 16th technical. I think now he might even lead the league in technicals since he's the first one to be suspended from it. But he's going to be suspended for 1 game. So we don't want that to happen with Draymond, especially at a time when we know we might need him, which is kind of like now, coming down to the last 19 games and then the postseason. So that's that for the Steph Curry news and him returning against the Lakers. As far as for the Lakers, there will be no LeBron. LeBron will be reevaluated. I think they said in 2-3 weeks, which is crazy. So hope that's not the end for the Lakers, but we know that I think that they can still stand afloat with the players that they traded for. Now, one of those players is not there anymore. He's not there right now. He's injured. He's hurt. D'Angelo Russell, who they had traded for from the Minnesota Timberwolves, he's hurt right now. So they thought he was going to come back maybe for the Warrior game. So maybe after that. But if they keep falling too deep, who knows where they could be? Because right now the Lakers are still outside that box looking to get in for the top 10 teams, especially in those bottom 4 for the play-in. So, we'll see what happens with LeBron in the next couple weeks. AD, I think they're just being precautionary with him, but hell, maybe they might need to just play him and just see what happens. Ride him till the wheels fall off right now. We know he's injury prone, but shit, maybe you might have to play him because right now your season is on the line. There's 19 games left. There's about a month and a week left of the season. So you're going to have to start making moves. So for the Warriors, I believe we're going to get that game against the Lakers tomorrow and make it 5 in a row, 6 in a row. 6 in a row. I absolutely believe it. Absolutely believe it. I don't think they're going to play down. No, it'll be 5 in a row. It'll be 6 in a row. 4, because we won 4 in a row this week and then we beat the Rockets last week. So it'll be 6 in a row if they beat the Lakers. So I think they're going to get it done. I just don't think the Warriors have time to play around anymore with what they have coming up. As far as other news for the Warriors, there was a Lester Quinones from the Santa Cruz Warriors had signed a 10-day contract with the Golden State Warriors. This move comes after this kid who had a great showing. He had a great week for the Santa Cruz Warriors. He actually ended up his last game, I believe, with 38 points, 7 rebounds, and I think he had 5-6 threes. So he's a very good player, very good wing player, 6'5", 6'6", on the wing, decent jump shot. But the reason I believe that they signed him was to make sure that they can get all of the available games from their two-way players, Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome. You're only allowed, I believe it's 40 games. Boom, boom. So no, I think it's 90 games. So it's 45 a game from your two-way players, which would be 90 games if you have a 14-man roster. If you have a 15-man roster, it'll be extended to what it really should be, which is the 100 games, the 50 games for both two-way players. So they're able to allocate that by doing this deal by signing Quinones to the two-way, or not the two-way, but to the 10-day contract, so they could be able to keep Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome. I think Anthony Lamb has 4 or 5 more games, and then Ty Jerome, I think he has 10. So they want to be able to keep those guys going in rotation. We still don't know which one of these guys might get the 15th roster spot. If any one of them get it, it's not a 100% thing that any one of those 2 guys is going to get that roster spot. But I just say we'll see. I think maybe for me, it'll be more of I'd rather keep Anthony Lamb than to keep Ty Jerome. If you've been listening to this podcast for the last, 8-9 episodes that I've been doing this, I'm not the biggest fan of Ty Jerome at all, but I do see the value in Ty Jerome. So I'm not going to be a complete hater like the guy can't play basketball. I'm not going to do that. So, but I just think with Steph Curry coming back and GP2 eventually coming back in your abundance of guards, I just think that maybe you have too many guards to keep Ty Jerome locked into a new deal or locked into a full deal to complete the season. It just wouldn't make any sense. And I think that us not having the big bodies that we need, like a big 6'9", 6'10", 6'11" type of player, Anthony Lamb might need to be the guy to stay just because of the bulkiness and just being a big body out there if needed. Plus, he can place the floor and he can hit threes at very important times in the game. He's shown that all season. So that's the reason why I maybe would keep Anthony Lamb over Ty Jerome. But again, best of luck and congratulations to Lester Quinones for getting the 10-day contract. Hopefully we could get some games where he could be able to play. So maybe we could blow some teams out where he could be able to get some minutes at the end of the game. Him as well as Moses Moody. Because I think that could be your future. And you still do not want to give up on the young players, because I've read an article a couple days ago. Let me see if I can fix this right quick. Still sound a little off. But I read an article a couple days ago where they were talking about the age or the 30-year-olds in the NBA and how the 30-year-olds in the NBA has kind of like, the numbers have went down. It's not as many 30-year-olds in the NBA today as it was in like 2000 or 1990, 92, when Jordan was starting to be at his peak. There were abundance of 30-year-old players back then. Now there isn't. And with that being said, it's just so many young guys in the league right now, and it's starting to really become a young man's league, that you don't want to just keep letting go young players that you can develop and keep into the future, especially knowing the way that the league is moving. You know your veterans and who your veterans are. You know who's probably going to leave next year, as far as Andre Iguodala won't be back. He's already made it known he's retiring after this season. So you want to be able to still develop the right type of core to come and take this thing over after Steph and after Dre, after Clay departs, which I think Clay's still going to fucking be playing until he's 41. That's just my belief. I think he's going to be playing until he's 41. I think Draymond's going to be the first to retire. I think Steph will retire second, but I think Steph will play till 40. And for some reason, I think Clay's going to play till 41. He missed 2 years, so I think he's going to try to make up for that in the back end. But that's as far as that goes with the young guys. And for Lester Quinones and Moses Moody, who actually are playing at a Santa Cruz game, actually right now as I'm doing this podcast, at Chase Center. Chase Center popping this weekend. Like, they got a whole AEW pay-per-view. They got the Santa Cruz game. Plus, they just had that game last night. But I'm going to turn to it right now just to let it play. But yeah, that's that as far as for the news of the week. Let's see how the week goes for next week. Can Steph Curry help this team go 6 in a row? Which we know he can. Just a matter of doing it and getting the job done. I'll be right back. We'll get back into some more talk and talk about some game reviews, because that's what we do here on this channel. We talk about the games of the week. So we'll be right back. I'll go to this first interview here with Steve Kerr.
You obviously expect to eventually get all your main guys back. So kind of, do these last 2 wins, hold like kind of more outward importance than
I mean, this is a huge win, not only for the standings, but for the confidence of the guys. That was a team win. I mean, everybody came in there and competed and played well, and we're down 10, I think, in the fourth, and to make that comeback against that team, that we're tied with in the standings, just a enormous win. And winning the other night, obviously, they're all big right now, but I like this one for the grit that we had to show to get it done.
I was going to ask you, as you go in the fourth quarter, you're down, then what do you think changed that? And do you think it was the grittiness? I was going to say that, like, just was it digging it out, the zone defense? What do you circle saying, okay, this is what turned it?
I thought our defense was much better, much more active. Dante was brilliant in that fourth. Clay got hot. We held him to 17. That's the big thing, 31-17 fourth quarter. So we really won the game with our defense. And then our ability to convert, the other way after getting stops.
And that right there was Steve Kerr. He was talking about the game against the Minnesota Timberwolves on the 26th of February, which is going to be the first game we review for the week. Great game, man. Just start off with my opinions personally. It was a great game. These guys really started off the game shitty as hell. Uh, it was bad at first. It was one of those games where you was like, damn it, you guys bet not lose this damn game. Then all of a sudden you start seeing it in the second half. There were some changes. And this is where we kind of start with the coaching thing. So I'm kind of going to mix two sections together. I'm going to mix the coaching and the reviews together because I want to give props. I did a video the other day where I posted and I was giving kudos to the coaching staff because I know sometimes I could be harsh. I am a fan. At the end of the day, I think as a guy, you know, the emotions really come out when you watch sports games. And that's really what it is for me. So sometimes they could be really quick knee-jerk reactions towards what we're seeing. And what we've seen all week, all year, all season has not been great, especially coming from a team who just won the championship. So from a defending champion perspective that did not have a big turnover, as far as the roster goes, it's just crazy to see that these guys just did not get the job done or has not been winning games on a consistent basis. So, but then when you really just take a step back and you look at the whole overall scheme of everything, then you really start to realize that, okay, you know what, this Golden State team, they're not playing their best, but hell, do you tell me really what teams besides Milwaukee, Boston, and Denver are really playing great ball right now? And to tell you the truth, no other team really is playing like phenomenal ball besides those three teams I just named to you, 2 in the East, 1 in the West. So with that being said, that was a nice move by Moody. Sorry, I got distracted. Moody with a nice layup. I'm watching the G League game at the same time, and Moody just got a steal. Look at him. Pass it. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. I like Moses Moody. I don't know. I think he just needs some more time. I thought at first he'd be ready. He'd be more ready than Kuminga, but I just think that he need more time. But sorry, I'm distracted. Let's get into this game review right now. So, the first quarter for the Timberwolves and the Golden State Warriors, J.K. starts it off with a turnover, leading to a McDaniels layup. The Timberwolves get off to a quick 7-0 start till Clay hits a deep 2. It's 2-7. Minnesota defensively was looking great. I'm not gonna even lie. Just the young athletic guys that they had getting to spots was great to see. You seen Jaden McDaniels dig in on defense. You had Conley out there digging in on defense, and the guy for the Minnesota Timberwolves has been Naz Reid. Naz Reid played phenomenal. Look at Moody with a 3 again in the G League game. Moody out here balling. Naz Reid was killing the Warriors. Naz Reid was out there looking like Joel Embiid for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And we couldn't do a damn thing to stop him at all, especially in the first half. We couldn't do a damn thing to stop him. I think our defense was so focused on Anthony Edwards, and we did a very phenomenal job on Anthony Edwards. He did not have a good offensive game at all. Don't even think he scored in the first quarter. Well, I know he didn't score in the first quarter. It was all pretty much Naz Reid. So then we come back there. Naz Reid was just really whooping ass. But anyway, so we come back. Minnesota, again, the defense was playing good. Steve Kerr called a timeout. It was a JK jumper over slow-mo on the after timeouts. 4-7 now at the 9:03 mark. 4-9 after a Reid layup. Clay was getting all he can eat, but he was missing a lot of shots early. And Naz Reid with a 3 right there after a Clay miss. The Warriors' offense was just atrocious at this point in time. There was no rhythm. There was no flow. There was no energy. There was no nothing at this point in time. It was just like they were out there just playing on just pure emotion. And that's where you kind of get in trouble at times because you don't want to just play off of, playing off of emotion sometimes because you can get in the lull. Anyway, we go back. There's a Naz Reid layup. It makes it 14-4. Then Loon gets a layup off of a Clay feed. Kerr subs in Ty. He's the first one off the bench, Ty Jerome. 7-14 is the score, 7:52. Jaden McDaniels hits a 3 from the corner. At this point in time, they're 3 of 5 from 3 are the Timberwolves. The Warriors were showing very little resistance. Naz Reid with 10 points in 5 minutes was crazy. The Wolves got up to a 20-7 start. Naz Reid had 12 of that. The Dubs only had 7 alone, so Naz Reid was whooping the Dubs' ass just by himself, which was it was kind of embarrassing at the beginning, but you're not really knowing what the strategy could be later on. But if you're just watching in that moment, you just really had the feelings of here we go again. But anyway, the strategy was obviously to contain Anthony Edwards, but it was Naz Reid that was killing you. The last 2 games that you played Minnesota, it was D'Angelo Russell and Naz Reid. Naz Reid was just getting everything over Draymond, over Loon. No game prep for that, but the Dubs with a nice 4-point possession. Loon gets one free throw out of 2, and then there's an offensive rebound by Loon and gets it back to Clay for 3. Boom. So now it's 13-23, still a 10-point lead for the Minnesota Timberwolves at this point in time. We get now to, after a JP miss, we're at the score of 15-26. Bob got on Kerr for not challenging. It was a call that it was like a phantom call here. Let's see if I can kind of explain it. So it was JP going up for a layup, and his arm kind of swiped it back, but it still was in the flow of his shot. And Austin Rivers kind of flailed back with his head, and they caught an offensive foul. And what that did right there, that offensive foul, actually gave Austin Rivers free throws on the other end. So Bob Fitzgerald was kind of mad, like why Steve Kerr and his staff didn't challenge that, because we knew that it would have been overturned. But anyway, I believe that both of those free throws were missed anyway by Austin Rivers. JP with a nice steal and a layup makes it 17-26. Wolves didn't turn the ball over after a Ty Jerome steal from Ant-Man, which was very shocking. That was good defense from Ty Jerome. Give him his props. But then with a layup over Edwards and McLaughlin together, the Wolves didn't call timeout. Scores 19-26 in the first quarter, 3:40 to go. JaMychal Green comes in the game. He hits a 3. It's 22-26. The energy is picking up in the arena. And then Naz Reid hits a 3. Boom. 18 in the quarter for Naz Reid alone. He's shooting 75% from the field. Oh, no, excuse me. The Wolves are shooting 75% from the field, which is crazy. We get to a point now where the Wolves get the lead back up 10 and with 1:56 to go. The Wolves are shooting 75%. The Warriors were shooting 39%. It was a nice pick and roll that I like to see more of, especially when the two guys play together. But it was Ty Jerome and JaMychal Green. Their pick and roll together, it looks pretty good out there on the floor. You could tell that Ty Jerome I'm not gonna say he relies on JaMychal Green, but he trusts him. He trusts him more than he trusts James Wiseman. I can tell you that. But anyway, the quarter ends here, 25-34. The Warriors were down 9 at the end. The Warriors were shooting 39% from the field. The Wolves were shooting 62. They were shooting 58 from 3 were the Wolves, and the Warriors were shooting 25%. Only on 8 attempts, though. So I'll say the one thing that we can see is the glaring change in the Warriors' play is they're not getting 3 happy. They are driving the ball, trying to get some shots inside. They're not relying on that 3 ball like they have been doing pretty much the whole season, which has been a good thing. Try going inside more than shooting 3s. The energy was bad to start, but the Warriors did kind of pick it up a little bit towards the end. But it was Naz Reid who was killing us, and Minnesota's defense was something to speak about, because some guys were digging in on defense, keeping the Warriors at bay, weren't letting them get shots off. The Warriors were turning the ball over. So they were pretty good defense there from the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Warriors rotation, though, I do think that it was not the best, but you're out here searching for energy at this point. So I understand what they were doing as far as with the rotation. They were searching for energy more than they were searching for putting the best players out there. The second quarter comes. The Warriors force a turnover to start the quarter. Offensive foul. PBJ gets early second quarter minutes, which was nice to see. Dante DiVincenzo then hits a 3, 28-37. 10:40 to go. JaMychal Green hustles for a steal. Then JP gets the layup. JaMychal Green then with another steal, but Dante DiVincenzo misses the three. JP with a nice block on slow-mo before the Warriors call a timeout. 30-39 at this point in time, 9:40 to go. JP was limping a bit, but of course he didn't come out the game. The threes on the fast break should just be a no-no. If you're not Steph, if you're not Clay, the threes on fast break should just not be done. I think that's really the biggest problem. Well, no, it's not the biggest problem. I'll take that completely back. One of the problems is just, besides taking too many threes, is taking threes on the fast break. And I hate to do this to my guy because I love him since he's joined this team. But Dante DiVincenzo is one of the biggest culprits of this. I don't think that his three has the momentum to carry him while he's shooting it, because it's a precise thing when you're on the move. They're a much harder shot than a standstill three or a standstill jumper in its own right. So having that movement while you're shooting a three on a fast break with maybe a defender trying to close out behind you, those are tougher shots. So those should be left out. It should be turned into 2-on-1s all the time, especially if you're able to do it. If you have a 2-on-1, 3-on-1, remember Jim Barnett used to always say a 3-on-1 should be turned into a 2-on-1. And that's where the Warriors' fundamentals kind of lack with the fast breaks, because everybody think that they're Steph and they're Clay and they can hit these fast break threes. But anyway, let's move on. There was a timeout. After the timeout, Dante DiVincenzo hits a three. It's 39-33 at this point in time. The Warriors are down 6, 8:42 to go. It was a great play, PBJ to a cutting JP, then a behind-the-back pass to Loon, who was fouled. It was a great play, but if Loon would have got the bucket, that would have been one of the highlights of the night. 7:48 to go. Loon makes half the free throws, 1 of 2. 34-39 here. Infectious timeout. Slow-mo then sits after the infectious disease timeout, which is crazy. So they call it infectious disease timeout to get the blood off of slow-mo, which is Kyle Anderson, who played for Memphis last year. He was getting the wound taken care of, and then all of a sudden, like, they blow the whistle and he sits on the bench. So it was like, what was the point? We just wasted like 5 minutes here for him to get a fucking cut taken care of, for him to sit on the bench afterwards and get subbed out. So that was funny as hell. But anyway, Conley then hits a three. JP then with a nice layup. Kevon Looney with a putback here. The Warriors cut the lead back down to 6. It's now 36-42, 6 minutes to go. Loon with 9 points and 5 rebounds at this point in time. JP then off of a Loon screen hits a three. It's 39-44. 6:09 to go. JP with a nice block. I think this is his second block of the night. He got a block on Walker. Then DD was fouled on the drive. He hits both free throws. It's now 41-44, 5:20 to go. Anthony Edwards gets his first points at the 5:05 mark, which was crazy. So really, if you really want to talk about it, the Warriors defense picked up like hell, because they did their job in making sure that Anthony Edwards did not go off, and he really wasn't the guy for them. It was Naz Reid. And it kind of made you nervous just seeing that he only had 2 points in the first half, knowing that he's one of those guys who can explode at any point in time. But he didn't, especially in his first half. But anyway, JK over Conley with a nice shot. JK doing more post-ups, which is very smart, especially when he has a smaller guy on him. 43-46 is the score. There were 2 missed opportunities to either tie or take the lead. And the Warriors squandered both of them. Then Reed gets a dunk on the other end after those 2 possessions were up. 43-48. JP with a floater after almost losing the ball, which was a very nice play. Then he gets an and one as well, so he shoots 1 free throw, makes it. 46-48, 3:43 to go. Left JP with 10 in the quarter so far. Loon gets us in the bonus at the 3:19 mark. Right now, the free throw disparity it was a 14-6, so the Warriors were getting to the free throw line way more than the Timberwolves. Another thing that was great to see. The Warriors then cut the lead down after a Dante DiVincenzo tip off of a JK miss. It's now 49-50, 2:51 to go. The Wolves called timeout. The foul started to pile up a bit, but all in all, at the end of the quarter, we ended up with a 59-57. At the end of the half, the Warriors were up after a Klay Thompson 3, and then after the Klay 3, there was a Klay floater that puts them up. So Klay had 16 at the half to close out the first half. Dante DiVincenzo with 12, JP with 10, Kevon Looney had 10 points, 8 rebounds. He's had a streak going so far at the point in time in this game with the rebounds. Go ahead, Moody. Hey, that's a foul. Anyway, sorry. Excuse me. As far as for the Warriors, 41% from the field, 30% from three. From the free throw line, did a great job. 18 free throws. They were 13-18 from the free throw line. They did have 8 turnovers with 11 assists, and they were out rebounding the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I'll say this too. I know this is a little bit of a spoiler for the other couple of games, but I believe the Warriors out rebounded all 4 of the teams, or all 5 of the teams that they beat in this 5-game winning streak. So that's something too to lead down the road. If they out rebound the team, even though we're smaller, we can win the game. So that's that for the Warriors. As far as for the Timberwolves, Naz Reid ended with 22 on the half with 7 rebounds. His career high was 29. Anthony Edwards only had 4 points, and then Jaden McDaniels had 9. The Wolves were shooting 47% from the field, 38% from 3, 11 turnovers in their own right with 14 assists. They did have 6 blocks and 4 steals, so their defense was really turned up, but their fouls was out there as well because they also had 14 fouls to go with that. Draymond did have an injury setback. This was the game I don't believe Draymond did not play this game, I don't believe. Let's check. I know y'all hear the paperwork in the background, so excuse me. Nope, there was no Draymond in this game. So they said that he had an injury setback, which was with, I believe, the quad or the calf or something. So it was just one game. It just didn't react the way that they thought it was. It still was some pain leading into this game. And I think that, that he ended up playing I'm sure he ended up playing the next game, I believe, which was against the Portland Trailblazers. So, and yeah, he did play that game. So it was just a little minor setback where he was able to get an extra game's rest. And you see that they were playing pretty well without him, so it wasn't a very big deal that Draymond was missing. Let's go to the third quarter here because we've already wasted way too much time on this review. Me watching this damn this G League game at the same time as doing this podcast is crazy because I'm just watching Moody and Quinones out here balling. I also wish it was PBJ, but there's no PBJ in that game. Nope. So anyway, we're in the third quarter. Ant-Man missed his first shot out the half. Klay Thompson mid-range jumper, 61-57. Ant-Man with a 3, trying to keep the Wolves in the game so it won't get too far out the way. But then Klay comes back and get that 3 back. Minnesota then at one point takes a 1-point lead, but the Warriors also give that back as well off another Klay Thompson 3, 64-62. Reed then hits a 3 for his 25th bucket, 64-65. JK then hits a 3 of his own right, 67-65. So the scoring was just crazy, especially with the threes, because come back on the other end, then Slow-Mo would hit a 3, 68-67, 9:30 to go. We turn the ball over. Conley comes back on the other end. He hits a 3, so now it's 67-71. JK says no way that this lead is going to get big out of control again. He dunks it at the 9:05 mark to make it 69-71. JK then with a nice help steal and no bucket though. So that was the crazy part. They didn't get a bucket off that steal, but Naz Reid come back on the other end and get a hammer. So it really was one of those 4-point swings where the Warriors missed a bucket and the Wolves come back and hammer it back. Then on the other end, there was a timeout right after a 3 from Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He hits a 3, makes it 69-76. 5 threes in 4 minutes for the Wolves. The Dubs were just not closing out to shooters here at this point in time in the game. I think they were, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you what the problem was. I just think that Minnesota came out hot. Ty was in for JP, who had 4 fouls. Offensively, they were picking on him defensively. KT with a 3. He had 20 on an after timeout play, making it 72-76. KT then again with a nice fade over slow-mo. He gets 22 points on the night so far, 74-76. Nas Reed with his 30th bucket was an and one. But he didn't make the free throws, so he does tie his career high at 29. Ty Jerome then gets a nice steal. Klay Thompson with a layup on that, 12 points in the quarter for Klay. He has 24 on the night so far, 76-78. Dante DiVincenzo with great defense on Ant-Man, forcing the miss, and then he forced a turnover as well at the 4:10 mark. JaMychal Green gives up on a lot of plays that he turns the ball over. I got this written down right here because it happens a lot. Pay attention if you really just watch. When JaMychal Green turns the ball over, it's like he just says fuck it and gives up and just stands there with his hands on his waist, or he'll let the ball go and look at it. He won't even go after the ball. He'll start running back on the other end. And it's like, dog, don't just give up on the play so quick when you're the one who fucked it up. It's like, just at least try. So that's my one only gripe with JaMychal Green, besides the fact that he's not the big or the reserve big that I envision for this team. But it's just the simple fact that he gives up on turnovers that he commits, and which is a problem just for me watching as a fan. But anyway, the Warriors do go on a scoring drought as usual. It's a 3-minute scoring drought. They got a little 3 in perimeter happy. 2 minutes in, 39 seconds in, there's a timeout, 76-80 the Wolves. So the Warriors didn't really get too far out of hand because their defense were keeping them there inside in the game. The Dubs did miss 9 straight buckets in 5 minutes until JP makes a layup, making it 78-82 with 40 seconds to go. And then there's a 3 from Minnesota at the end of the quarter, making it 76-85 or 78-85. Only a JP layup in the last 6 minutes. There was no type of attention to the pick and roll. On the other end, we didn't even attempt any pick and rolls ourselves, especially with the lineup that we had in the game. Guys are forced to go ISO way too much, because especially when we have nothing, when we don't have anything on our read and react or on our motion offense, it just seems like a lot of guys just start trying to go one-on-one. JK does it a lot. Klay does it a lot now, but Klay has gotten so much better at when he goes one-on-one and being able to dish off the ball. Remember about maybe, I say 2019, Klay was not passing that shit. It wasn't happening. Klay wasn't passing that ball at all. He was taking that shit, and he was going to make it most of the time. Remember, he scored 20 points a game most of his career. So even during the KD years, he still scored an average 20 points. So I just think that he's the one player on this team, him and JP, at this point right now that can go one-on-one. I'd rather see JK do post-ups in the paint. I don't want to see him really going from the wing trying to drive in and be a slasher as of yet, because that hasn't been an area of strength for him. It's really been an area of weakness because he's been turning the ball over a lot. Teams are already waiting for him to make that drive from the right side of the court and go left and try to drive in for some type of a layup. So mainly for him post-ups. But anyway, still, it was a 30-19 quarter for Minnesota, getting the game back on their side. The offense needed to consist of just some other strategies besides just shooting the three-point shot or getting perimeter happy. And so help me, they might have did it in the fourth quarter. PBJ missed the first shot in the fourth quarter coming out, but Rivers hits a 3. It's 78-90. The momentum is all the T-Wolves. JP then gets to the line and missed one. The first free throw, 79-90. Lamb with a crafty layup on Reed. It's now 81-90. 10 minutes to go. PBJ 3 makes it 84-90. Rivers 3 then put the Wolves back up 10. I think there was a free throw in between there, and then the Rivers 3 put them up 10. 16 made threes on the night, 84-94 timeout Warriors. The Warriors just can't seem to score when they need to or close out on the three-point shooters. The Wolves are taking turns driving on the Dubs' interior defense, and the Dubs just can't get out their own way. Let's see. And then we go here. Dante DiVincenzo hits a 3 off a Jordan Poole pass, 87-94, 7 minutes to go. 24-second violation on the Dubs. The defense was just hounding Klay. They were trying to take the ball out of Klay's hands. DiVincenzo with a nice layup off a Kevon Looney rebound. 89-96, 7 minutes to go. The Wolves called timeout. The Warriors then switched to a zone. They forced Rivers to miss. KT then with a nice three off an elevator screen from Loon makes it 92-96, 5 minutes to go. Klay Thompson then with a improbable bank shot off of it's like a corner bank shot on Rivers. And it was crazy as hell. It went in. You could tell by the way he released it. He kind of knew that shit was going in. But it makes it 94-96. The look on Rivers' face was just like, damn. What the hell do I do? Anyway, KT with 29 on this point in time in the game. Rivers then misses both free throws after he gets fouled. Dante DiVincenzo with a reverse layup, tying the game at 96. The Warriors are now on a 9-0 run. Slow-mo then gets an and one on the other end, and he makes his free throw, making it 96-99, 4 minutes to go. And then we see a 1-4 pick and roll from the Warriors. A 2-4 pick and roll from the Warriors. Klay Thompson, Anthony Lamb. Lamb hits the three, tying the ball game back at 4 minutes to go. Then Dante DiVincenzo and JP combine on the steal and give the ball. The Warriors do call timeout there after this point to try to make sure that they set up some type of good play. And by God, they do. It was a KT to Dante DiVincenzo 3, putting the Warriors up 3, 102-99. Lamb then with a block on Conley. Dante DiVincenzo misses a layup. He misses the layup, but then Klay Thompson comes back off of a Loom rebound and makes a 3. His 32nd point on the night, give the Warriors a 105-99 lead. The Wolves called timeout, but that's pretty much it. 27-12 quarter for the Golden State Warriors so far at this point. Klay Thompson fouled, shooting 3 by Jaden McDaniels. The Wolves do challenge the call. I believe the call was actually successful, and it was. They jump ball in the middle. Tony Brothers said there was no foul, which I call bullshit because it was absolutely contact. But anyway, regardless, big stop on Naz Reid. JP misses the shot, but Loon gets a tip in, makes it 107-99, 50 seconds to go, and that pretty much is it. Anthony Edwards misses a 3. They try to help, but it doesn't do anything. 20-6 closing Dubs run. The Warriors win this game 109-104. They were 30-30, 500 coming into this game. They were the 8th seed coming into this game. Winning this game makes them 31-30. They now jump up to the 7th seed. And this, to me, was mainly Klay Thompson's best game. Klay was able to show rebounding. He was able to show playmaking as well as his patented shooting and scoring, able to get to the free throw line when needed. So just seeing those type of things from Klay Thompson, just showing growth, was amazing to see. Klay Thompson, 32 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Dante DiVincenzo, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Jordan Poole, kind of a quiet night. He did have 15 points on the night. Kevon Looney, 17 rebounds with 12 points. And JK with 13 on the night as well. These guys at home, pretty damn good team when they're at home. Can they take it on the road at some point and hopefully win a game on the road? We don't know. We'll see. But when they hold opponents to under 115, they're 22-3 on the season. So that might be an area where they could do for now, just try to see if they could keep teams under that amount moving forward with their next couple games. And I think that was really the goal for them. And by God, I think they really kind of got it, even when you watch the next couple games coming up during the week as well. PBJ getting some nice minutes there was very good to see as well. Dante DiVincenzo, give him his props, man. This is like the perfect fit as far as for a basketball team for this guy. I don't know if too much he fit in Sacramento, or if he really even fit that good in Milwaukee. But with this Golden State Warriors team, starter or coming off the bench, he has fit. It has been something that he has been able to flourish in this system, and Steve Kerr's given him all the opportunity to. Kevon Looney, Mr. Iron Man, who's played every game last year, every game this year so far, 17 rebounds on the night. I think he was having a streak of like 10 and more rebounds for 10 games, I believe. just Loon being the ultimate glue guy, the garbage guy who's able to pick everything up, get your offensive rebounds, get your defensive rebounds, solid defense on the other end. Sometimes he does get in a little bit of foul trouble, but that's because the referees be calling fouls on things where Loon just have hands straight up. So got to give those two guys their props. Jordan Poole, he does turn it on later on in the week, but this was one of his weaker games, and I think that was mainly because of the foul trouble more than it was because of anything else. Klay Thompson, again, can't say enough about him, just his growth as a player now entering into his 30s and just seeing how he could be more than just a shooter, more than just a scorer. He can play make, he can get rebounds as well, and as well as play defense on bigger defenders. He can't guard those little smaller guys anymore just because he doesn't have that lateral quickness that he used to, but absolutely he can guard 3s and 4s. So I'm leaning more towards seeing what this team can do when Draymond comes back, which was going to be the Portland game, and then seeing if the defense can hold up. The offense, I'm not too much worried about, but can the defense hold up is the question. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next game. Let's go to the Portland Trail Blazers game. This is going to be Steve Kerr once again with his interview talking on the game after the victory against the Portland Trail Blazers.
Of the first half, but that only got it down to 17. Did you think that's kind of where it started, and then what happened there in the third quarter to turn it all around?
Yeah, I mean, it was good to close the half and just make it a little more of a manageable deficit. And but I just felt like the intensity picked up in the second half. The defense was much better. We held them to, I think, 40 points in the second half. So, they were amazing early on. They were hitting everything, and we were a little scattered. We kind of had a different game plan tonight than normal, and we're still putting some things together a little bit out there during the first quarter, and I thought we did a much better job of executing defensively in the second half.
Steve, how do you think they executed the defense on Dame? It felt like you decided to just take him out.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys don't do that often. What did you think of the execution of that?
Well, I mean, we know all too well what Dame can do, when he gets rolling. So that was the plan from the beginning. Like, let's try to take him out. And the biggest thing was not fouling him. That's why I was losing my mind on those 2 foul calls early in the game. I didn't think we fouled him, but he was driving to the rim and drew 2 fouls, I think. And he shot 16 free throws last time we played them, and that was the difference. So tonight he had 5 early, and we didn't foul him at all in the second half. So that was key, and we just. You just make a decision. You're just going to make somebody else make a shot instead of him. And that's, pretty much as simple as it gets.
And that right there was Steve Kerr talking right after the Portland Trail Blazers game where the Golden State Warriors defeated the Portland Trail Blazers 123-105. Great game. I think this is 3 in a row. 3 in a row for the Golden State Warriors, where they were able to put an opponent away after being down. The second game in a row where they were down double digits and they were able to come back and win this game. Great game as far as strategy. And this was the game where I had did a video right after where I gave Coach Kerr and his staff credit because just what they did to Dame in this game. And I'm going to speak on it again just right now. What they did to Dame, they let Dame go crazy in the first quarter. First quarter, Dame did Dame. Excuse me, sorry about that. Dame was Dame. In the first quarter, I'm trying to see if I see his, how many points he had. I really can't see it, but Dame was being a flamethrower. I think he had like 18 in the first quarter. He was balling, getting to the free throw line, getting threes where he needed to, getting to the cup, making layups. Dame Lillard was getting what he wanted, but then there was a switch that was turned, and they completely took Dame out in the second half of the game. Dame was pretty much not. He was a non-factor out there on the court. in the second half, and it was basically because of the defense. The Golden State Warriors had switched to a boxing one defense, and what that boxing one does is trail the best player on the team. They have one player who's pretty much face guarding the one guy who would be Dame, and then the rest of the team just kind of zone up, and based on the movements of that one player is how the zone moves and still keep their box form. That's what Ron Adams was talking about at the very beginning of the episode with his interview at the Gatehouse, where he was talking about the boxing one and how it contains guys and how you still have to keep your box form. And that's what the Warriors did, and completely frustrated Dame and took him out the game. I can't even find the words for it. It was just great to see how the Warriors were able to dig in defensively. Everybody. That even goes for Ty Jerome, who was also included. He wasn't included much in this game, I don't believe. I think his minutes were very minimal in this game, but he still was able to go out there with the zone defense and contribute on that end, which was great. And really, the Blazers don't really have another gun. They do have Jeremy Grant, but he got his 20, but it's not a 20 that really would count towards wins. It was just really Dame. I don't think Anthony Simons, did he play? No, he did not play this game. So that's why Cam Reddish has started for him. Defensively, you see where maybe in the future this team could be pretty solid, especially with Matisse Thybulle out there guarding on the perimeter. We know how great of a defender that he is. We've seen what he's done against Steph and Clay when he played for the Sixers. So Matisse Thybulle is a great defender. And then you get your Jeremy Grant's not a pushover defender at all. And then they have Shadon Sharp, who comes off the bench, who's a great defender, plus Watford as well. So they do have some guys out there that can defend. It's just the offense might be a problem. They're relying too much on Dame to score pretty much all their points. And when Dame is taking out the game, then what? So that's really what it is for the Portland Trailblazers. But for the Warriors to come out defensively and completely shut down Dame, completely shut down Ant-Man the game before, and letting the others try to see if they can carry the opposing teams to victories have been a great strategy. And I think that I know that I give Steve Kerr and his staff propers on that, because just to come in and finally start to strategize more. And maybe he has been strategizing, and the team just hasn't been following suit until now. So whatever has happened after that Laker game that has turned these guys in a different direction, I'm all for it, and I want to see more progress coming as the weeks go and as the season starts to come towards its conclusion. As we get into this game, the starters for the Golden State Warriors were Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Dante DiVincenzo, Draymond Green, who returns to the lineup after the calf injury the last 2 games, and Kevon Looney, who's been Mr. Iron Man as well. The game starts off with Draymond with a steal from Reddish. Klay Thompson misses the jumper, but Dame hits his first bucket on the other end. Klay Thompson then turns the ball over off an offensive foul. Then Thybulle, who's not known really for being an offensive player, especially a shooter, he comes on the other end. He hits a 3, quick 5-0 start for the Portland Trailblazers. Loon then gets a nice layup. Of course, he pretty much is the guy who gets the first bucket for us when we're struggling to hit perimeter shots. Then Thybulle on the other end comes and he hits his second 3. So now it's 2-8. Quickly that fast at the 9:40 mark. Loon with a nice putback off of a Dante DiVincenzo miss, so now it's 4-8. Reddish then with a 3, then JP comes down on the other end. He hits a 3 on Jeremy Grant, makes it 7-11, 8:20 to go. 2 team fouls very quick on the Warriors. Get to the line is Jeremy Grant. He hits both, 7-13. Draymond with a 3 off of a JP pass, which was nice to see Draymond try to get into it offensively, especially on his first game back. 10-13, 7:59 left to go. Portland's energy was crazy. Eubanks was everywhere. Eubanks was everywhere trying to get offensive rebounds or defensive rebounds. He didn't get them all the time. It just was his energy, though, getting close and trying to at least box people out or beat people to spots to get those boards. So that's a guy that you would want on your team, whether he's actually completing the offensive rebound or not. It's still great to have a type of guy like that on your team, just with great energy. So give Eubanks from the Portland Trailblazers his props as well. Anyway, Klay Thompson then turns the ball over. Dante DiVincenzo and Draymond then force a Cam Reddish turnover on the break. Klay Thompson then comes back and make up for that turnover by hitting a three. It's 13-15, 7 minutes to go. Draymond then clears Thibault off of a screen for Klay Thompson. Klay then hits a shot. Blazers then call timeout. The tempo is pretty good to both teams' liking. Nice pace to it. Wasn't too fast, wasn't too slow. The Dubs were a little bit overhelping on defense, though. They weren't recovering off of Lillard, off the Lillard double teams, because the first thing they were blitzing Lillard. So the first defensive coverage were to blitz Lillard with a double team when he gets the ball, to try to take the ball out of his hands. But it's just the recovery back to those other players was not that good to start the game off, and that's why the Blazers were able to get off to such a great start shooting. Draymond then with a nice back down on Dame in the post, gets the layup right there, 15-18, 5 minutes to go. Nas Little with a corner three. The Warriors didn't call timeout because the Blazers go up 6 with 5:30 left to go, 21-15. Leaving the shooters on the double team was just the problem because the Blazers were 5 for 9 from 3-point range. The Dubs weren't bad themselves. They just weren't shooting that many of them, which is still a good thing. They were 3 or 4 from 3-point range, but just seeing them take the ball inside. But give the Blazers defense credit because they were able to keep the Dubs at bay from getting those inside buckets. The Dubs needed to get stops very much, but after the timeout, Dante DiVincenzo with a three off of a Ty Jerome pass, 18-21. Then J.K. gets to the free throw line after a good drive on Watford. Lillard then with a nice and one on Ty Jerome with a sidestep, making it 18-26. Then he hits the free throw, so really it's a 18-26 after the free throw. Then Dame comes back after the Warriors miss a shot, and Dame hits a three over JK, making it 18-29, 3 minutes to go. 10-0 run after a Shaedon Sharp layup makes it 31-18, and it kind of was looking like one of those games again. They were letting it get out of hand, but JK stops that run with a nice dunk, making it 20-31. A phantom foul on JK, which sends Lillard to the line. He shoots 2 free throws. He makes them. JaMychal Green then turns the ball over. Nas Little hits a jumper, making it 20-35. JaMychal Green with a putback, making it 22-35. And then there was a three from a three and a free throw. So making the lead 22-39, 18-4 run to pretty much close out the quarter. As we end the first quarter off of a JP and one floater with 17 seconds to go, the score is 27-41, and that will be the score to end the quarter. Dame actually had 15, not 18 in the first quarter, but 60% shooting from the Blazers in the first quarter. The Warriors really needed to turn up the defense because the Blazers were getting everything that they wanted. To start off this game, you could actually tell too that this was a game that both teams needed and both teams wanted. And know that with the standings, somebody had to win and somebody had to lose. And the loser could very well be going on the downslide in the standings, and the winner could be on an upward trajectory. So that kind of was the hype that both teams were on, and you can tell at the start of the game. So that's what really transpired and got the Blazers off to the hot start. As far as for the second quarter, the Warriors start off out the gate with a three, making it 30-41 at the 11-minute mark. Then JP, off of a miss from Eubanks, gets an and one on the other side. He hits his free throw. It's 32-41, 10-minute mark. Lamb then he earned a nice possession, boxing out on Eubanks, getting the offensive foul call on Eubanks. And then Draymond appeared to hurt his wrist at the 9:15 mark, but he went out for a minute, kind of continued to play on it. Sharp, but then on the other end, tries to block PBJ, but PBJ with a nice cut dunk inside, 32-45. Lillard with a nice mid-range jumper, 32-47. Draymond gets 2 free throws, even with the hurt wrist. For his 7th bucket, it's 34-47, and this is the time I believe where Draymond comes out the game, so he can go to the back and they check on his wrist for a little bit. The Warriors were shooting 38% from the field. The Blazers were just beating the Warriors up on the interior. The Blazers looked more hungry at this point in time, and this is right at the timeout for the Warriors. The score was 34-48, 6:43 to go in the game. Jeremy Grant hit some free throws, put the Blazers up 16. Then Dante DiVincenzo to turnover after trying to pass it to Loon. Then Jeremy Grant gets fouled. It's the 15th foul already at the 6:22 mark, so the Warriors put the Blazers in the bonus. The energy is just completely zapped out the building at this point in time. It was mainly all Blazers. The Blazers got this lead up all the way to 21, I believe. Yeah, they got up to 21, 42-63 at the 140 mark. Dante DiVincenzo layup kind of cuts the score down a little bit to 44-63. Klay Thompson with a nice pump fake at the free throw, but he gets to the free throw line, makes both free throws, 46-63. 37 seconds left to go, and then JP with a nice crossover on Dame to get to the bucket for a layup. It's down 48-65 at the end of the half. 40% shooting for the Warriors. JP had 12, Dante DiVincenzo had 10, and Dame Lillard himself had 19 for the Blazers. And this is where the game kind of completely flips. Pulls a 180, if you will. The Dubs and I wrote at the beginning of this page the last couple games, just trying to give a prediction before the game continues. But before the third quarter start, I put Dubs have to come back and win this game. Dallas just lost to the Pacers, and the Dubs win. They will put them at the 6th seed right now, because right now they're at the 7th seed. And the third quarter, the Dubs cut it quickly to 14, 58-72, and then the Dubs start storming back in the game. Draymond with a nice block. Dante DiVincenzo with a pass to Loon for a layup. It's now 62-74. The Dubs cut the lead to 12. And then Dame fouls JP, who was shooting a three. So, of course, JP's going to hit all three of those free throws. Now it's an 11-2 run. It's 65-74. And instantly, here we go, because 6:22 mark, Dame with a turnover. You could just see that the boxing one defense was really just taking him out of his game, because he couldn't really do anything. Dame was a negative, 13, I believe, in this quarter. Then after that part, JP with a nice hanging layup, making it 67-74. Chase Center starts to wake up. JP then with a nice play, with a nice three from an out-of-bounds play, 16-2 run. It's now 70-74, 5:20 to go. Dame then picks up his 4th foul. Portland challenges the call, but the call stands, so it's unsuccessful. Klay Thompson with a nice runner, then making it a 24-9 quarter. It's now 72-74, 4 minutes to go. Portland is starting to break down. 14 fouls early for Portland. Thibault is everywhere trying to defend everybody, but he can't do it by himself. JK ends up getting a steal from Dame, just picks his pocket. Goes to the line. He misses both chances to tie, though, but it is what it is. It was a good defensive play by JK. Dame then finally hits a layup, giving him his 23rd point, 72-76, 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go. And then JK with a nice highlight dunk with a pass from Ty Jerome at the 2:40 mark, making it 74-76. Klay Thompson then gets to the rim for his 13th bucket, 76-78. The scoring starts to pick up, making it an entertaining quarter here, especially for the Golden State Warriors. After a miss from the Portland Trail Blazers, Klay Thompson then hits a three to give the Warriors their first lead of the half, 79-78. 1:33 to go. And then Jeremy Grant, he travels, so he turns the ball over. JK uses Klay Thompson screen to go over for a dunk, making it 81-78 with the 1 minute to go. Watford then hit a nice floater in the lane for Portland, making it 81-80. But then Klay comes on the other end, hits a three with 35 seconds to go. We're sitting at 84-80 at this point in time. Ty Jerome with a nice backdoor layup for Draymond, 86-82. And then an offensive foul on Johnson after he hooked Ty Jerome. So it's a turnover again on the Blazers. The Blazers were breaking down this quarter. Great offense and defense from the Warriors. Draymond gets a foul at the buzzer. They review it, make sure to give him this call. Draymond, I believe he does go to the line and make both free throws. making it an 87-82 quarter. Just the adjustment, because I wrote here that the team energy was just different coming out the half. There was finally an adjustment by Kerr and company to incorporate the box and one and attack the basket off of Draymond. I said box and one and attack the basket. That was the last play of the game. So scratch that attack basket off Draymond. But just seeing them implore the box and one defense and telling them to score inside. Everything don't have to be threes. It can still be drawing kicks, but get the ball inside first and then draw out for it. You're just seeing the adjustments from the coaching staff. The quarter just completely flipped. It was a 39-17 quarter. The Warriors shot 65%. They were 6 of 7 from the free throw line. Did a very good job here defensively and offensively, especially in that third quarter, to be able to take the lead heading into the fourth. And then it was just more in the fourth quarter. The Warriors kind of blew it open. I don't think I really need to get too deep into explaining what happened in the fourth. The fourth was just JP opened up with a three to just let you know, hey, this game is over. There was really no comeback. JK with a nice midi over Dame, making it 110-95. Klay Thompson with a nice turnaround on Eubanks, giving him his 21st point, making it 112-98. Klay Thompson, 8 rebounds. I think he ended this game. Is this the game he ended with 11? Klay Thompson. Nope, ended with 8, but he had 4 assists. So still one of the best players on the floor at the time. Let's just end it right there. Just was great how the Warriors employed that box and one defense. We don't have to call it the janky defense. It just was smart. The same thing that Nick Nurse did when the Toronto Raptors played the Warriors and they was playing the box and one on Steph. We really didn't know how to combat that. So just to see this game and then them come back around and win this game the way that they did. Draymond at the end of the game gave props to Kenny Atkinson for his game plan. And I got to give him his props too, just to implore, to even think to, hey, let's do the boxing one. Let's see if that can stop Dame, because they only have this one major scorer. And by God, it worked. So anyway, ending the game, Jordan Poole ended 29 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Klay Thompson, 23 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Dante DiVincenzo, 21 points, 4 rebounds. Draymond Green, he did come back and play the rest of the game as well after that wrist injury. Ended with 12 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists on the night. Kevon Looney 14-7, so it kind of ended his streak of double-digit rebounding. But anyway, whatever, he still was on those boards. And JK, who's been really showing up lately, averaging double-digit points since Steph Curry has went down. He had 16 points and 3 rebounds. All in all, the Warriors get the win. They improve to 32-30 on the season. They do jump up to the 6th seed. But since the Clippers lost to the Timberwolves, it actually bumped the Warriors up to the 5th seed. So the Warriors actually bumped up 2 spots with this win. And you could just see what consecutive wins will help you do in the Western Conference right now, because that bumped them all the way up to the 5th seed. And me putting at the very beginning of the third quarter, the Warriors need this game for the 6th seed because Dallas lost to the Pacers, but wasn't even paying attention that the Clippers had lost as well, and they had lost to the T-Wolves, who we had beat the game before. So we played the Timberwolves the game before. The Clippers lost that game. We won that game. The Clippers lost their game, and our next game, I believe, is against the Clippers, so which is a game that we need to win as well, just to keep steady race now in this playoff picture. The bottom teams, you can see they're starting to taper off a little bit, like the OKC Thunder. Hell, even the Utah Jazz, they're starting to lose games. They were blown out the other night. Forgot by who, but blown out by like 30. So you can see that the Jazz are starting to lean more towards that lottery situation, as well as the OKC Thunder. The Lakers are really the only team that are they're trying to surge. I'm not even going to say that they're starting because their injuries might hamper them, but they're trying to surge and get to a point where they can get into that play-in. Because the Pelicans as well, they're starting to fall at an alarming rate without Zion Williamson. So, again, all in all, it was a great win for Portland. Just to give their stats, Jeremy Grant ended the night 24 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Dame Lillard, 25 points, 7 assists. And that was pretty much it for them. Matisse Thybulle did have 15 points, 5 of 7 from the field. He was 5 of 6 from 3-point range. So when teams play us, as far as for being a 3-point shooter, if you're the worst 3-point shooter in the league, play the Golden State Warriors. You'll have a good 3-point shooting night. So again, all in all, great defense, great defensive strategy, great awareness, great preparation for the second half. Hell, let's say this, great halftime pep talk, because whatever was said at halftime really just, it made them turn up. And if they wouldn't have turned up, no matter what the strategy was, they wouldn't have won this game. So give props to the players, give props to the coaching staff. All in all, great win, as we're going to move on here to this Clipper game on March the 3rd, March 2nd, 2023. This is Steve Kerr talking to the media.
I thought the guard rebounding was a really big deal tonight, both Dante and Clay with 11 boards. Clay has really made that a point of focus since the All-Star break to get on the glass. And so, between Draymond and Loon directing the defense, our guards getting back on the glass, defending without fouling for the most part, and just staying solid, I think we're finding something.
Hey, Steve, what stood out most to you with Jordan's performance tonight?
Well, tale of two halves for sure. He had a rough go in the first half, but what I like is just the poise that he showed. He was in good spirits at halftime. He didn't get too down, and he stayed with it. And he just kept attacking and really got us going in that third quarter.
I mean, he didn't score at all in that first quarter. Can you kind of sense when he's going to start to catch fire like he did in that third?
I can't necessarily sense it, but I know it's always possible. And that's why he's so important for us, because he, at the point of attack, he can, get right by his guy and get to the paint and finish. And if he can do that and break the defense down, it opens up a lot of things for us.
For a good chunk of the season, your team has been at 500. This is the first time you're 3 games over 500. Is there a significance to that?
I think so. And I'm pretty sure that's the first time we've won 4 games in a row, too. Is that right? 5. You're supposed to back me up. Yeah. Since when do facts matter anymore? Yeah, so I'm wrong on that. But it does feel like this is our best stretch because of what we're doing defensively. It's significant in that we've held our serve here so far at home. Another big one tomorrow, and hopefully Steph coming back soon. So I think things are looking up.
And that again was Steve Kerr talking after the Clippers game on March 2nd, 2023, after the Warriors took down the Los Angeles Clippers at Chase Center. Oh, man, good game. Another one of those games. Final score was 115-91 as the Golden State Warriors prevailed to win their 4th in a row. 4 straight wins, man. Very, 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 very good to see. The Dubs. The Dubs come out with I don't know if they come out flat at home, but it just seems to be like how the games start. I missed a little bit of the first quarter because I was doing some other things, but when I came back in and seen it, I know who started the game. I know it was Jordan Poole, Dante DiVincenzo, Klay Thompson, Draymond, and Loom. I know that there was no buckets in the first 2 minutes. Westbrook got a bully bucket to open the game, and then Klay got a 3. And then after that, I kind of missed it a little bit until it was a 10-10 game at 7-18. It was a back-and-forth game pretty much till we got to the 21-21 mark, where Kevon Looney ended up getting a nice and-one layup, making it 27-26 with 23 seconds to go. The Warriors did implement a 1-2-2 zone, and this is, as a player when I was a young kid, side note, I used to love 1-2-2 zone, 1-2-2 rotating guard. That used to be my favorite defense to play. I hated 2-3 and I hated 3-2 zone. I felt like 1-2-2 was my shit because I got to rotate, I got to move. I felt like I was great with that defense. That's just a side thought. for me. So even when I see 1-2-2s in the NBA, I'd be amazed. Like, damn, man, that's like ROCYO AAU type of defense. But anyway, JK ended up missing a three at the buzzer. Klay Thompson ended the first quarter with 12 points. Kevon Looney ended with 11. It was 26-27. At the end of the first, the Clippers were shooting 50% from the field, 13% from three, though. The Warriors were shooting 42% from the field and 25% from three, 3 of 12. Not that much good shooting coming in the first half, but for me, it was a quarter where the Golden State Warriors were able to keep an opponent to under 29, under 30 points. And to me, when they do that in the first quarter, where we have a good sign of things to come here, because you can tell that the defense is active. Even if they might not get all the stops, you can tell that the defense is active. As far as for the second quarter, we started off with Poole, Draymond, JaMychal Green, Anthony Lamb, and Dante DiVincenzo. No, it wasn't Dante DiVincenzo. It was Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga started off with a nice bucket, 28-30. Terrence Mann with a turnover because he travels. Jordan Poole with a driving layup, making it 30-30. Draymond rebound off a Bones Highland miss, and JP with a putback off a Dante DiVincenzo miss, making it 32-30. Bones Highland then hit a three. He hasn't been playing the last couple games, but it seems like every time he plays against us, especially against Jordan Poole, he's playing. Bones hits the three. It's 32-35, 9:20 left. Powell, he did not have a good night. He usually plays good against us, but he had a terrible night. Powell hit the layup. It's 32-37 at the 8:40 mark. Warriors can't buy a three at this point in time and actually getting three happy. The Clippers are getting real physical with the Warriors. 14 fouls on the Clippers early. JP with a turnover trying to get Loon the ball, but ended up going out of bounds. The Clippers called timeout. It's 34-39. JK then after the timeout gets a nice drive, and he gets fouled for the Clippers' 15 foul, which puts them in the bonus at the 6:20 mark. He hits both free throws. 36-39 is the score at the time. JP gets fouled on the other end as well, and then PG, what it says, a non-contact and one. So PG was like not even touched, but he got an and one. They call the foul. I put bullshit here, but anyway, 36-42, 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go. JP with a nice block on Westbrook at the 4:55 mark. The Dubs just can't score, though. It was a layup that was missed by Anthony Lamb, but Westbrook comes back on the other end and he gets it. The Warriors do go on a 4-minute, 17-second scoring drought. Klay Thompson does get to the line to quell the run a little bit, makes both 38-44, 3:40 left to go. Let's see. Eric Gordon then hits a three, making it 38-47, 3:20 to go. Draymond tries to keep the Warriors in the game, making a nice layup off of a Klay Thompson drive and pass, 40-47. Eric Gordon then with a layup. He was having a very good quarter for them, 40-49, 2:46 to go. Warriors called timeout. There's just no offensive flow for the Warriors at this point in time in the game in the second quarter. The Clippers were just being very physical defensively, keeping the Warriors at bay. The Warriors went through the typical drought. PBJ tried to do a nice little post fade, and he actually hits it, so didn't mean to jab him that way. He makes the post fade. 42-49, 2 minutes left to go. JP then turns the ball over. The Clippers starting to lock up JP a bit, taking him out of the game. PG hits a three. They're 4 of 12 on threes are the Clippers, but still they're able to start making shots eventually. 42-52, 135 left to go. Klay then with a driving layup on Nick Batum, 44-52, 56 seconds. Great defense by Dante DiVincenzo, where he forces a turnover, him and Kevon Looney. Dante then gets the ball down on the other end and hits a shot. Then let's see. Dante was then hit with an elbow by, I believe it was Paul George, to the face. The refs called an offensive foul on Paul George. Then after they reviewed it, they insisted that it was not a hostile act. It wasn't a flagrant. Then Ty Lue challenges the call, the initial offensive call. And I call bullshit again because it ended up being a successful challenge. But The elbow is a clear offensive foul. He actually caught Dante DiVincenzo with 2 elbows driving to the bucket, not just one. And the second one, I believe, is the one that they called the offensive foul on. But if they were to keep watching, the first one hit him first, and that should have been an offensive foul on Paul George, or Kawhi Leonard, excuse me, not Paul George, on Kawhi Leonard. Anyway, the ball doesn't lie because Kawhi only makes one of the 2 free throws, scores 44-53, 30 seconds left to go. JP then finally gets a foul call himself off of multiple efforts off the glass. The Warriors, it was like 4 different possessions that they had to try to get back, and they were able to sustain it and get it back and make some free throws to get some points on the board. Kawhi then with a 3 at the buzzer, making it 45-56 at the end of the half. The Dubs shooting just go cold. The Clippers offense shows up when needed. 6 of 24 from the field, 0 of 10 in the quarter for the Warriors from 3. Klay Thompson had 16 at the half. JP had 9. Draymond Green, had 7, and JK had 7. The Warriors shot 33% from the field, 14% from 3. Only 8 assists on the night, 28 rebounds to 7 offensive, so they were winning the rebounding battle, but just the shooting percentages were off. Kawhi Leonard had 15, Paul George and Westbrook had 8, and Eric Gordon had 7 to end the first half. And then it was, I wrote at the very top of this, the Dubs they have to win this game because the Mavs beat the 76ers, so that'll put the Mavs 1 game up and it'll drop the Warriors back down to 6, so they needed to win this game. And they came out in the second half and Loon with a nice tip to open the quarter, making it 47-56. Draymond then, he turns the ball over for offensive foul, but then they end up getting the ball back. There was an and 1 for Kevon Looney, making it was that for Kevon Looney? Draymond turnover, offensive foul, Kevon Looney and 1 midi. Draymond then with a nice handoff layup there, making it 49-59, 10:29 to go. Draymond then with a spin. Draymond, I'm getting names fucked up here by reading this paper. Dante DiVincenzo with a spin floater on Paul George. 9:53 to go is 51-61. Nice highlight play with a JP side step 3. Making it 54-61, 9:15 to go in the quarter. Kevon Looney looks like he turned the ball over with a pass to Dante DiVincenzo, but then he was fouled at the rim. Goes to the line, makes 1 of 2, 55-61. Kevon loses the ball out, but the ref says that it was off the Dubs. Kerr challenges the call. Kerr did not. Well, no, he did not challenge the call. So I actually wrote Kerr challenged the call. Then it came back. Kerr did not challenge the call. Stupid. Plumlee goes to the line. He has 2 free throws. So now the score, just by not challenging that call, put the Clippers up 8, 63-55. Westbrook then loses the ball to JP. JP just picks him clean, goes on the other end, hits a 3. It's now 58-63. Westbrook with an offensive foul. JP gets called for a technical because he felt like he was fouled by Kawhi on the other end. The score at this point in time, 58-64, 7:22 to go. Bad fouls, bad calls, on both sides in this game. Klay Thompson with a nice steal on Plumlee. Then JP gets an and 1, 60-64, 6:34 left to go. As we fast forward, the Warriors do get a 4-point, keep the 4-point lead as Klay Thompson gets a steal and pass to Kevon Looney for a dunk, making it 70-66. The Clippers call a timeout. Clippers try, but the Warriors they start to run away with it. After this timeout, there was a Kevon Looney jumper after the timeout that went in, making it 70-68. There was a Klay Thompson to Anthony Lamb 3, making it 73-68. And then there was a JK 3, making it 76-68. Then there was a Kevon Looney who baited JK and helped him get a foul into the bonus. They went under the arm of JK, and JK was just smart enough to go up like an OTP move. He only makes 1 of the 2 free throws, but still, I I didn't fuck that part up too. I might have to cut that. I ain't cutting nothing. So the KL is not Kevon Looney on this paper, and I think that's why I keep getting confused. The KL is Kawhi Leonard. So Kawhi Leonard baited Jonathan Kuminga to a foul, and they got into the bonus with the little Chris Paul under the arms move. Kawhi makes only one of the free throws. The score is 76-69, 148 to go in the quarter. JP with a smart wraparound foul, just like Kawhi Leonard just did. Jordan Poole makes both his free throws. The score is 78-69. Then JK and Loon with a nice combined steal. And then they come back on the other end, and then JP gets another bucket as well, making it 81-69. 23-point flip. With 102 left in the quarter, the Clippers turnover. The defense just really turns up. Jordan Poole ends up being fouled at the 3-point line, and then he ends up making all 3 free throws, making it 84-69, and that kind of ends the game. It's a 39-19 quarter. 35-8 run by the Dubs, and then one of the greatest scramble plays probably ever, the scramble play that involved Jordan Poole. It was a Jordan Poole 3. He misses it, and the ball starts to go out of bounds. Jordan Poole saves the ball, and he kind of falls on E40, the rapper E40, and 40 kind of like gives him an extra little boost back into the game. JK ends up getting the ball to Loon. Loon wraps around and gives the ball back to JP, who hits the 3 in the corner. A hell of a play, a highlight play. I probably will put that on my top 10 players of the week. Well, no doubt it'll be on the top 10 players of the week. It might be number 1. But that made the score 87-69, and that kind of just really ended the game. Ended the quarter 87-72. Jordan Poole was just amazing in this quarter. 22 points in the quarter, 42 points for the Dubs in the third quarter, and that pretty much ended it. I don't really have to go through the third quarter too much. Ty Lue ended up pulling all his big guns at like the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter, so game was pretty much over by then. The final score again, 115-91. The Dubs win 4 straight. Their record now after the win, 33-30. Jordan Poole 34 on the night. Klay Thompson 19 points, 11 rebounds. Give Klay Thompson his props, man. He's been on the boards. He's been getting assists. He's been efficient from the field. Klay Thompson has played like a superstar. People didn't think that Klay can carry a team. They thought that he was just the number 2. And, well, I say this, since Steph has been out, he's shown that it might not be in big bunches or big stretches, but he's shown he can be a number 1 as well. And he can carry a team. So give Klay Thompson his respect. JK, 19 points on the night. Very, very big game for him as well. Draymond, 11 points. Dante DiVincenzo, 5 points. He had 11 rebounds on the night. Kevon Looney, 11 points, 8 rebounds on the night. Very, very, very good all-around team win. And they got to keep it going. And they got to keep it going for really the rest of the season. 20 games left after this one. Is it 20? No, it's 19 games left after this one. This is 63 games right here of 82. So 19 games remaining after the next game, which is the New Orleans game. It'll be 18 games remaining. But they just got to keep it up, man. And they know what they have to do. They know that they got reinforcements coming soon with Steph Curry, Wiggins after his situation. Andre Iguodala's even been ramping up. He scrimmaged with the G League team with Steph a couple days ago, so he looks like he's ramping up as well. He's trying to get ready for a playoff run. I don't think they're really worried about the season. I know that I heard him himself say that he at least wants the last 9-10 games to be able to ramp up before the playoffs so he can get his legs under him. So they know reinforcements are coming. GP2, they say he'll be reevaluated in the next couple weeks or so to see if he can go before the playoffs start as well. So if they keep playing this way, turning up the defense the way that they have, keeping Kawhi Leonard at bay, Kawhi himself he didn't have a bad shooting night. He was very efficient still. He was 8 of 12 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. He had 21 on the night, but there was absolutely no help for him. Eric Gordon had 16. Paul George on the night, quiet as hell. He had 11 points. He was a minus 10 plus minus. He was 3 of 15 from the field. Westbrook, 3 of 12, 0 of 5 from 3. He only had 8 points. He did have 6 assists, but that's just not going to do it. Miles Plumlee or Mason Plumlee, whichever one. I think it's Mason. Mason Plumlee did have 20 rebounds on the night. So even though Mason Plumlee had 20 rebounds on the night, they still were out-rebounded by the Golden State Warriors in this game, which was, I don't even understand how the hell they were out-rebounded. But, yep, 60-47 out-rebounded by the Golden State Warriors. They got to keep it up. Out-rebound teams, you win. You hold teams, hell, especially if they hold teams under 100, they win those games. So if they focus on the defense and keep defense at the forefront, and now you know kind of who your 4 defensive guys are, especially right now with the guys that we have missing. You know who your defensive guys are. You know your Draymonds, you know your Kevon Looney's, you know your Dante DiVincenzo's, and now you have your Jonathan Kuminga. So you have your 4 defenders that you can throw out there, mix match, put 2 out there at the same time with 3 other scorers or what have you. They do have now those guys who can go out there and guard on the perimeter, plus your 2 guys who can guard on the interior. So we'll see how things play out with the next couple of weeks as far as for the season goes. But we are going to jump into the last review of the week. It was a long one this week, 4 games on the week. But this is against the New Orleans Pelicans. This is Steve Kerr talking to the media.
What clicked for the team over this last week or so, in your opinion?
I think just a lot of grit. You know, every one of these wins, it felt like was marked by our team kind of getting over the hump, a lot of, overcoming a lot of deficits, turning up the defense and grinding out games down the stretch. So it's been exciting to see our team, I think, turn a corner, but we still need to go out and win on the road. But this was a great homestand for us.
You gave Kuminga, I think, 32 minutes. What did you see from him early, and maybe what was based on matchup that you liked from him tonight?
Well, this was one of his best games. So was last night. I mean, he's making some strides. Offensively, I liked that he was going to the rim and cutting and finding his way there. I thought the play of the game was Dante's offensive board, and then J.K. cut behind the play and got the dunk. But, the more he can attack and use his athleticism offensively, the better, and I think he's doing that. And then defensively, he's by far our best option on Ingram, and I thought he had a great game defensively, and so it's fun to watch him play tonight. It's fun to see his development continue.
Steve, you mentioned you have to go out and do it on the road. Based on the way you guys won these last 5 games, how encouraged do you feel about where you guys stand as you go on the road, and what do you want to see as you get out there?
Well, the defense has to hold up, and for whatever reason, that hasn't been the case. Our defense on the road all year has been bad, and it's been really good at home. But I think these last 4 or 5 games, it's been the best and most consistent defense we've played, and hopefully that translates, and we'll give it a shot, see what happens.
Yeah. And that was Steve Kerr talking after the New Orleans Pelicans win. Number 5 in a row for the Golden State Warriors on March 3rd, 2023. The Warriors pull out a 5-0 homestand at Chase Center for this week. And, hey, man, give them their kudos once again, because they were able to come out and win a game that they needed to win, a game that they had to win, a game that they should have won, especially seeing that the Pelicans were so shorthanded. No Valanciunas, no Zion Williamson, no Larry Nance Jr., no Jose Alvarado. So they were missing some big guns, even though the Warriors were as well. Of course, they were missing Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Andre Iguodala, Gary Payton II. So the Warriors, again, pull it out. Final score for the Pelicans game. Shit, I don't even have it. Yeah, I don't hear the paperwork in the back. It's 108-99. The Golden State Warriors pull out that victory again, and they're boosting their record up to 34-30 on the season. They remain the 5th seed in the Western Conference, and the crazy thing is they've been the 5th seed all week long. So congratulations to the Golden State Warriors. Not only have they been the 5th seed all week long, but as well, they've been able to get, for the first time, I think, all season, over 4 games over 500, which is the first time all season. They've been struggling to get there. Started off the season 3-7 and been trying to fight to get up to over 500 ever since that start. And it seems like every time they get to 500, they lose a couple games to go back down. Now, the stretch that's coming up in the next week or so does not look so daunting. It doesn't look so daunting at all. The Milwaukee game, the Phoenix game, I think it's not a back-to-back, but they're right after each other. Though that week, especially on the road, doesn't look so daunting anymore because this team looked like they know what time it is right now. They know the end of the season is approaching. They know seeding is going to be important. They know other teams are going to start dropping. They know how important this stretch is. So I feel like that's what we're seeing right now from this team, the sense of urgency. Maybe not to come out and start each game, but there's a sense of urgency by the time halftime starts. And maybe this team can become, because we've seen it so far this homestand, where this team has looked like the Warriors of old, especially when it comes to third quarters. The Warriors used to be the best third quarter team by far in the National Basketball Association. And today marks the 5th game where they've been able to turn things on in the third quarter and pretty much run away with the game and win it. And that's what they did. Well, they really didn't do it in this game against the New Orleans Pelicans as much. New Orleans kind of stayed with them throughout the game. Let's get started into this. I don't want to make this review hella long like the other ones were. We could just say that the first quarter, the Dubs start off the game not shooting too good. The Dubs were dragging and the Pelicans were surging. You could tell this was the second night of a back-to-back for the Golden State Warriors, as the Pelicans were shooting 9 of 14 from the field, 64%, and they were shooting 60% from 3. As for the Golden State Warriors, they were shooting 5 of 14 from the field, 35%, and 0 of 6 from 3. This is all at the point in time where it's an 18-32 score in the first quarter, and these were after Jordan Poole free throws at the 38-second mark. Is it Najee Marshall? I believe he hits a 3, making it 18-35. JK's 3 makes it 21-35, and that is the first quarter. That's the score, 21-35. The Pelicans shoot 67% from the field, 63% from 3. Meanwhile, the Golden State Warriors shoot 45% from the field and 13% from 3. Not a good start for the Warriors, but the way that the homestand has kind of went, you kind of seen this coming. Not going to be a great start, but you know that they're going to start clicking at some point. And for the team, instead of being in the third quarter, it was actually the second quarter. The Dubs, after a timeout in the 7:40 mark, started to make their push. The Dubs were able, off of a Ty Jerome floater, to cut it 35-40. Brandon Ingram then hits a jumper, pissed the lead back up to 7, 35-42. But JK with a nice layup, and then Loon gets to the free throw line, hits some free throws. JK with a nice putback, making it 39-44, 5:19 left to go. Nice give and go play by Klay Thompson and Kevon Looney to give Loon the bucket, 41-46, 3 minutes and 50 seconds left to go. The Dubs do force a backcourt at the 3:35 mark. The pace of the game slow. It's pretty slow. Again, you can tell that the Dubs were on the back end of a back-to-back. The Pelicans weren't, but I think that that's kind of their pace of play, is a little slower tempo. Not really walk it up, but more sets than it is a run and gun tempo. Klay Thompson does hit a 3, pushes the deficit to 2, 44-46 at the 3:23 mark. 7 points for Klay. Then JP dazzles Jones and BI with a nice dribble package, but he gets to the line and gets fouled. If he would have completed, that would have been a hell of a highlight. The Dubs do get in the bonus at 2:46. JP does hit both free throws to tie the game, 46-46, Jordan Poole's 8th bucket. CJ does hit a 3 on the other end. He's been battling a thumb injury, so his jumper has not looked up to par this season at all, like compared to what CJ McCollum usually does as far as being a shooter. But Tonight he got a couple of them. He had 8 points. The game was 46-49. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to go. Klay Thompson with a layup. 48-49. Then J.K. with a nice bully move and showing some footwork on Brandon Ingram for a layup to take the lead. 50-49 with 1:30 left to go. CJ then gets to the free throw line. It makes both free throws. Najee Marshall makes a layup, making it 50-53. Loon with a dunk off of a nice roll to the bucket. 52-53. 50 seconds left to go. Najee Marshall with a layup. Klay Thompson then gets fouled by C.J. McCollum. He makes both free throws. The score is 54-55. Klay has 11. And then I believe it was B.I., Brandon Ingram, who hits a nice jumper at the end of the quarter to make it 54-57 to end the half. 33-22 quarter for the Golden State Warriors. Klay ends the half with 11 points. JaMychal Green had 11. Jordan Poole had 8. And Kevon Looney had 8 as well. The Dubs shot 50% from the field, so they got the percentage up for field goal. And as far as three, still wasn't really there, 27%. They did have 9 turnovers, 15 assists for both teams. The Warriors won the rebounding battle 21-13. Even on the offensive glass as well, they had 6 compared to the 1 of the Pelicans. Again, if the Warriors are on the rebounding battles and they win those battles, they're going to win the game. It's shown during the whole homestand. They've won every single game, and they've won every single rebounding battle on that winning streak, this 5-game winning streak so far. As far as free throws, 8 free throws to 10, so the Pels do have the Warriors by 2, but it wasn't a big disparity. The Pels did shoot 51% from the field, so it would have to be the defense in the second half that keeps the Warriors' winning streak alive. And let's see. There's a point after a Klay Thompson layup. Where is that? After a Klay Thompson layup, it's a 3-point game, 71-68. 4 minutes to go. I'm not gonna go through this whole thing. It's a lot written on this notes. The Warriors, after a Lamb 3 and on a 13-2 Warrior run, it's 74-68. The Pelicans call a timeout. 3:45 left to go in the third. Brandon Ingram then with a nice layup. J.K. puts back a nice dunk put back from a J.P. miss at the 2:35 mark, makes it 76-70. J.P. is fouled then by Brandon Ingram at the 2:22 mark. The review, but Draymond kind of forced the Brandon Ingram momentum, so they just call a common foul, not a flagrant, because they were looking to see if it was a flagrant on Brandon Ingram, but no. Jordan Poole makes the 2 free throws. It's a 17-4 run. It's 78-70. 2:15 left to go. Kyra Lewis banks in a 3 that you know he didn't mean to make. He was smiling going back on the other end, making it 78-73. Draymond layups a Ty Jerome pass, making it 80-73. 1:40 left to go. Kyra Lewis then comes back again, gets an and one. And then gets the 4th foul on Draymond at the 1:21 mark. He gets the free throw as well, making it 80-76, which is a 3-point possession. A late foul call when J.K. almost got the ball off a steal. J.K. was about to go down on the other, or go back and go to his bucket and get a layup, but they caught a late foul saying that he pushed off. But this right here puts the Pelicans in the bonus, and they get 2 free throws. Only make 1, but still cut the lead down to 3 after it was up to 8, making it 80-77. J.K. with a nice bucket, who's been very impressive just on this homestand in general. 82-77. And the quarter kind of ends 82-78. The Warriors had chances to run away with the game, but they just really couldn't. Draymond was not having a good game at all. The Pelicans was getting to the free throw line at the will. The Dubs were just fouling too much, and that's what really kept the Pelicans in the game. Though it was a 28-20 quarter, the Warriors still had work to do to put this game away. And we get to the 4th quarter, and the game is pretty close the whole way through until we get to like this 5-minute mark here. Jordan Poole turns the ball over. There was no feel, no energy in the building at the 5-minute mark. Brandon Ingram ends up getting a jumper. They push the lead up themselves to 4. So now the Warriors are down 89-93. 4 minutes and 43 seconds left to go. Lamb then gets a 3 off of a draw quick from Dante DiVincenzo, making it 92-93. 4:16 left to go. After a Pelicans timeout, Klay Thompson gets the ball off of a miss from the Pels, and he makes a three, making it 95-93. 3:41 left to go. Then Dante DiVincenzo comes back on his end, and he hits a three. Then they get the ball back again after playing great defense, and Jordan Poole with a pass to Klay at the 3:06 mark, and they make a jumper right there, making it 98-92. So it was the Dubs were starting to run away with it here. After the Pels timeout, which was the score was at 98-94, Dante DiVincenzo offensive rebound to J.K. dunk, 100-96, and that was pretty much it. Draymond does foul out the game after fouling Brandon Ingram at the 1:01 mark of the fourth quarter, but the game was pretty much already over, and they could go the rest of the way without Draymond in this game. Draymond did not have a good game at all, but it still did not mess up the Warriors' chances to win 5 in a row because everybody else came out and played their asses off. Now, Draymond on the defensive end was still pretty good. Offensively, wasn't there. He was turning the ball over, but still defensively, he was there and when they needed him as well. Kevon Looney, 10 points, 11 rebounds on the night. Just, man, Mr. Iron Man Looney just gives you everything that you need when you need it. Like, he's won a game for us earlier this year against the Atlanta Hawks at the double overtime win with the putback. Just Loon being at the right place at the right time just really helps this team. And I couldn't see a better fit even for a center. I still think that eventually, maybe a season away, we might need another backup big, but they might can go through and win without one this year. And that's what the hope is. The final score, again, 108-99. The Dubs win 5 in a row. They push their record to 34-30 on the season to remain the 5th seed. They're only a half game behind the Phoenix Suns for that 4th seed in that final seeding for home court advantage. Klay Thompson at the end of the night, 27 points. Jordan Poole, 18. Jonathan Kuminga, who's been showing amazing growth before our eyes, 19.7 assists, 7 rebounds. JaMychal Green off the bench, pretty solid game, 14 points, 6 rebounds. And Kevon Looney, we mentioned, 10 points, 11 assists, or 11 rebounds. Excuse me, not 11 assists. And Anthony Lamb, who had 11 off the bench. The Warriors did shoot 51% from the field, 32 from 3, shot 90 from the free throw line. They did have 18 turnovers to the 28 assists, which is not good. You don't want that many turnovers in the game, but they were able to survive and win the game without it. They won the rebounding battle. Won the steals battle. They pretty much won the game by their defense and being able to contain Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum at times when needed. So, again, give Golden State all the props in the world. They're able to 5-0 on the homestand. Now they got to do what Steve Kerr was talking about and see if they can take this act on the road, because they're going to have to get some on the road. No team that has won a championship has ever been sub 500 on the road, I think, except for the Washington Bullets of, the 75 or 76 season, one of those two. So the Warriors do want to get that road record up some more. They do have a lot of road games coming up to end the season. They have, let's see, I'm about to actually go. Yeah, and I'm going to get into something else too. I just seen something post up, but I can't wait to even dive into that. I'm going to probably take a break and get back into that a little later. But as far as the Dubs road schedule, they have coming up at Lakers, at Thunder, at Grizzlies. They get 2 home games against the Bucks and Suns. Then they have at Clippers, at Hawks, at Grizzlies again, at Rockets, at Mavericks. So just to close out March, that's 3... That's 5. So 8 road games. 8 road games here in the next couple weeks, next 2 to 3 weeks. And what are they right now? 7-23. So just hypothetically, let's just say that they can win all of those road games, right? That still doesn't even put them at sub 500 for road wins. They will only have 3 more left to finish the season, which would be at Nuggets, at Sacramento, at Portland. And I don't even think that still will even put them there. I think that'll put them, nowhere near 500. They still will be a sub 500 team on the road, but it won't be as bad. But anyway, I just think that they can go out on the road, especially with the energy and the attention to detail that they've been having lately and the adjustments that's been made even after halftime and the strategies going into these games. I think they can win a large percentage of these road games coming up. So it makes the schedule not look as daunting anymore, knowing what's going on with the Warriors getting reinforcements back. Hell, even knowing what's going on in the NBA with the parity going on. And as we sit here and we talk about the Warriors' 5-game winning streak, them being the 5th seed in the Western Conference at this point in time, I do want to talk about the debut of Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, who had a great debut. They almost seemed like they were a seamless hire or a seamless fit for Kevin Durant to come there, because the guys played very good. Even though it was against the Charlotte Hornets, they still had a very good game. Kevin Durant ended up in his debut with the Phoenix Suns, 23.6 rebounds, 2 assists. He was 10 of 15 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. He's going to be a mid-range killer. He did have 2 blocks, plus 13, but it was mainly Devin Booker, who had 37 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds. He was 15 and 26 from the field, 3 of 7. But I think this is mainly a thing for Chris Paul. Chris Paul being able to do what he feels like that he's built to do, and that's be the floor general, the assist guy. He's 11 assists in the first game, but he doesn't really have to be an offensive cog anymore, really. Especially when you have guys like DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, even Josh Okogie, who's been kind of playing good since Kevin Durant got there. Cam Payne, Torrey Craig, these Damian Lee. Let me not disrespect former Warrior Damian Lee. T.J. Warren, who is also a former Phoenix Sun, who's now playing for them again. He has not been playing very well for them, but Kevin Durant's debut and how the Suns looked as a whole was it kind of was scary, but it doesn't make it nervous time for me being a Warriors fan, because I think watching them, I'm actually a fan of both teams. I used to live in Phoenix, Arizona for 3 years, back 2014 to 2017. And a lot of my family still lives in Arizona. I watch the Suns on a regular. I don't fear the Suns being a Golden State Warriors fan. Even with Kevin Durant, I just don't feel like the bench, I don't think they have enough on their bench. And I don't think defensively on that bench they have enough. As far as for them, I just think it's a lot of mid-range. So the mid-range game will kill you, but the three-point game they don't take a lot of. I'm looking at this right here from their stats, and I think they only took around 10. No, let me take that. Boom, boom, boom. So they only took about 24 threes in the game against the Charlotte Hornets. 24 threes. This is like a 3-point shooting league now, and they only took about 24. Kevin Durant only took 2. Devin Booker only took 7. CP2 missed all 4 of his, but again, they're going to be more of a mid-range shooting team. I don't really, and plus it's going to take even more time, I think, to gel once it gets time for playoffs and knowing where guys need to be, figuring out rotations. That's going to take some time. The second game against the Bulls, they looked even better. Kevin Durant does not have to do as much with this team as he did with Brooklyn. Brooklyn, he had to carry them. This team, he can just play the supporting role and let Devin Booker be the star like he's been doing the first 2 games of his tenure here. Devin Booker had 35 and 6. He shot 24 shots. Kevin Durant only shot 10. He only had 20 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. I don't know if they still have Kevin Durant on a minutes restriction, but he did play 31, so I don't know how much of a restriction he is. But just having Kevin Durant on that team for Phoenix and how efficient that he is, I mean, 7 of 10 from the field is ridiculous. And I think the last game he was about 70% as well. So just him being so efficient, he's not even taking as many shots because he doesn't have to. But it does make them dangerous. I wouldn't want to see them in the first round, because as of right now, the way that the standings are set, the Golden State Warriors would take on the Phoenix Suns in the first round. of the playoffs. The Suns are the 4th seed, the Warriors are the 5th seed. The Suns will have home court advantage. So that would be very troubling for us in the first round. I still think that we would be able to get the job done. The Golden State Warriors, will be able to get the job done because I just still don't think that the Suns have been together long enough to build that chemistry to win a championship. And plus, the guys on that team have never been there before except for Kevin Durant and Damian Lee when they played for the Warriors. So, we'll see how the Phoenix Suns season continue to progress. I do wish Kevin Durant the best. I just don't want him to win a championship this year. I want Golden State to three-peat, and then whatever happens after that, I can give a damn. But I want the three-peat just for Steph Curry to be able to say that the last person to three-peat was Shaq and Kobe, and now Steph can go in that realm as well with Draymond and Clay. As far as other things going on around the league, because I do want to get into that. James Wiseman, we'll talk about James Wiseman for a second here. He's been playing pretty well with the Detroit Pistons. Wiseman, his last game, he had a bad game, but it's obvious that you're gonna have those type of games when you're a young player. You're not playing on a winning team, but you still have to grow. So I think that it's still going to take time, but he has the right coach now with Dwayne Casey and the right development staff to just stay on his helmet and make sure that he's out there doing what he needs to do to stay on the floor. He's been rebounding the ball so much better since he's been a Detroit Piston than he ever had as a Golden State Warrior. He's given the opportunity to be an offensive player. Even though sometimes he might not have the most efficient nights, he's still getting that opportunity to develop and play games. Whether he's playing an understudy to Durant or he's playing a starter and Durant's coming off the bench. Either or, I see success for Wiseman out there. And you just would want to see, especially not for Warrior fans, unless you really are a fan and you're hoping for the best for James Wiseman, but you would want to see Wiseman and Jaden Ivey build a chemistry together to where they could have a nice little pick and roll combo, at least until Cade Cunningham can come back next season and maybe develop something with Wiseman as well. But again, I'll have another highlight package or progress package for Wiseman probably by Monday up on the YouTube site, just to show his progress. It's going to have his highlights as well as some lowlights as well. So it's not going to just be all good. It's not going to be all roses. It's going to have some bad stuff in there as well. It's just showing his progress as he continues to navigate his career in the NBA. But again, I wish the 7-foot kid best of luck out there in Detroit. And I'm still going to keep eyes on him from out here in the Bay. When I come back, I am going to discuss just a little bit on now the new controversy that's going on with Ja Morant and what's going on with the Memphis Grizzlies at this point in time. So give me one moment. We're going to go to a quick little break, and then I'm going to come right back. We'll talk about the Memphis Grizzlies and the Ja Morant situation going on right now here on WarriorSince 9-1 podcast. And we are back here live here on the WarriorSince 9-1 podcast here on March 4th, 2023. And we're going to continue here. I'm just going to stay in the standard section. We're going to get into some more teams here in the NBA. Not just talk Warriors. We're going to talk other teams too, as well as we wind down this Western Conference playoff race here with the last 18 games to go in the season. And the next team I really want to talk about, because waking up this morning, there was a lot of news going on pertaining to the Memphis Grizzlies, and right now it's a lot of concerning situations going on in the Memphis Grizzlies camp right now. The first thing I'll get into, I won't get into the big news yet. I'll get into that last. The first news coming out of the day on March 4th for the Memphis Grizzlies is the one-game suspension of Dillon Brooks after receiving his 16th technical foul of the season. So he actually beat Draymond Green with the technical fouls, and actually is the first person to get suspended this season with the technical foul rule situation. Once you reach 16, you will be suspended a game. And I think you're suspended a game for each technical you receive after that as well. So I think that's how that goes. So Dylan Brooks is going to be out for their next game. I forgot who they play with their next game. I think it's the Clippers. They play the Los Angeles Clippers in their next game tomorrow, Sunday the 5th. And not only that will they be without Dylan Brooks on the Clipper game on Sunday, they will be without Brandon Clark, where the news dropped this morning that Brandon Clark did tear his Achilles in the game Friday night against the Denver Nuggets. He will be out for the remainder of the season, so we know he probably won't be back until later next season. The torn Achilles thing usually does take about almost a full year for a player to be able to come back and play, so he could be done for fully all of next season as well for the Memphis Grizzlies, and we know how big of a cog that he is for them in that system, especially coming off the bench in substitution for Jaren Jackson Jr. So that's a big blow to the Memphis Grizzlies as well, who hold the number 2 seed right now in the Western Conference under the Denver Nuggets. So things right now for them are looking a little scarce. They are right now 38-24. They do hold a 1-game lead over the Sacramento Kings. They might lose that almost immediately with all the news coming out from them. They hold a 4-game win, or 4 games over the Phoenix Suns, who are the 4th seed, and 5 games over the Golden State Warriors, which is the 5th seed. So they could drop, especially with the news that's came out, because the news now that Ja Morant has been suspended by the Memphis Grizzlies. So this is not the league suspension right now. This is a team suspension. So the Grizzlies do suspend Ja Morant for 2 games. And he will be away for the team after it appears that he had displayed a gun on his Instagram live page. And you know, the maturity level for a lot of these Memphis Grizzlies players is really a concern if you're a Grizzlies fan, especially knowing how athletic and how good this team really is when they don't get in their own way. And I think that's a lot of their problem. They get in their own way. But as far as for Ja Morant, just been so much news coming out about Ja Morant within the last couple weeks. The news about him striking the young teenager who was at his house playing basketball over the summer. And that situation, then the situation at the mall that him and a few of his associates rode up to the mall in Memphis after his mother had got into a confrontation or an argument, so to speak, with a security guard, I believe, at the Memphis Mall, and Ja Morant came up there, and the rumor is that there were threats that were made, and maybe even, I'm not even going to say a full assault, but maybe there were some hands put on some other people, and not mean punches, but just literally maybe a shove or a hand in the face or something of that nature. I don't want to speculate too much because that'd be wrong on my end to keep speculating on what happened with that. But these are all stories that has come out about Ja Morant within the last 2 to 3 weeks. And it's very alarming for a young player like Ja, especially, I don't know his upbringing. I've seen the pictures. I've seen all the YouTube posts about him growing up in a nice family, and we see T. Morant all the time, but we don't know really how he was raised. We don't know. Damn, one of the pads just fell in my in the room. One of the noise resistant pads just fell. That's what you just heard. Sorry about that. But again, to see like a guy like Ja Morant who was raised with his mother and his father, like. And for a lot of kids growing up in the black family, is one myself, just knowing how difficult it is to be raised without a father, and then to see a young man such as Ja who was raised with his father and still doing the things that kids in fatherless homes do. And just I'm gonna say this, like it's a thing in the black community where we feel like we do have to be tough all the time. It's a stigma that we have, I know I'm venturing off from basketball, but it still pertains to Ja Morant and his situation. But it's a stigma that we have that we got to be tough all the time. I grew up with this stigma. I grew up in the hip-hop era. I grew up aspiring to be a hip-hop artist. So I know how that goes at times where you have to try to be the tough guy. I feel over the last maybe the last 5 years, this has intensified greatly over time, where a lot of these young kids, they want to be gangsters. They want to be thugs. They want to be mafioso. They want to be the center of attention type of deal. And for a player like Ja Morant, who's getting $200 million, and I'm not going to count his pockets, but $200 million from the team, you're getting endorsement deals from Nike, I think it's Nike, who had just dropped Kyrie, and he took Kyrie's place. You get that endorsement, and then you do a Powerade endorsement. Like then you start to fuck up your money, and that's where it becomes a problem, and everybody sees it. And of course, most of the black community has something to say about it, including myself, because I've seen this happen so many times where guys have the wrong people around them, or guys try so much to be a certain image when you don't have to be nobody but yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and for a guy like Ja Morant, when you have money like that, what's the point of you brandishing guns? Like, so that was very irresponsible on his part. I'm just reading on my Bleacher Report that he did issue an apology probably about an hour ago to his Instagram page. And I'm going to read this to you guys. This is courtesy of Bleacher Report, which is also courtesy of Chris Haynes of The Athletic. The statement from Ja Morant reads, "I take full responsibility for my actions last night. I'm sorry to my family, teammates, coaches, fans, partners, the city of Memphis, and the entire Grizzlies organization for letting you down. I'm going to take some time away to get help and work on learning better methods of dealing with stress and my overall well-being." That's the quote in the apology from Ja Morant right there. That's admirable. So I'll give him that. But you still don't want to continue to make the same mistakes. And just for a young guy like him, you got to just start distancing yourself from people who are not bringing good juju and good karma around you, because it's going to do nothing but bring you down. And the way that the NBA is, and I hate to speak on this, I hate to bring race into anything. I really do, especially when it comes to like basketball and things like that, especially of this nature that we're talking. But we know how quick they are to suspend and even get rid of your ass when you're a problem as an NBA player. If you have a brandishment as a thug, they're going to look at you as a thug, and the whole league is going to brandish you as that. And you might not be in the league too much longer. I think the one guy who kind of got away with it, and I don't feel like he was ever really brandishing himself as a thug. I just think that he was just himself. And the bowling alley accident kind of brandished him as a thug. But Allen Iverson had that stigma pretty much his whole career, that he was a thug. And that stigma followed him from the Philadelphia 76ers to the Denver Nuggets to the Detroit Pistons, back to the Philadelphia 76ers, and even followed him after his career ended. So, and Allen Iverson really still could have played another couple more years in the league, but the stigma will follow you around and take out your career. DeMarcus Cousins does not have the reputation of a thug, but he has the reputation of being a hardhead, someone who always wants to fight, a problem. So that stigma followed him. That's why he's no longer in the league right now. Jarvis Crittington, however the hell you pronounce his last name, the guy who got into the incident with Gilbert Arenas and the gun situation in Washington in the early 2000s. No longer in the NBA. This guy is currently serving a prison term, I believe. So it's like you have to really be mindful and conscious of what you're doing when you're in the spotlight, such as Ja Morant. And it's really a big disappointment to see him act the way that he did, because I seen the video. I seen the little ass pistol that he was brandishing. It was a little gun. I couldn't tell you if it was a water gun or not. I'm not going into that. That's not here or there for me. Again, it's still just very irresponsible. How the hell you even get it in the club in the first place? That's number one. But you got money, you can do things like that. But for you to do that and then brandish it, knowing how strict the NBA is with these type of situations, I feel like you put yourself in a bad situation. And I feel like you put a bad spotlight on your family, because if you really weren't raised that way, there's no reason that you should be acting in the manner that you are right now. But with that, this is the Grizzlies who suspended Ja Morant for 2 games. The NBA has now issued a statement, and the statement from an NBA spokesperson is, "We are aware of the social media post involving Ja Morant, and we are investigating." This is courtesy of Shams Charania of The Athletic as well. And they said they're investigating it, so it could be a suspension on their part, and you don't know how long that the NBA could suspend them for. So for the Memphis Grizzlies, them being the 2nd seed, they could drop significantly with the last 18 games of the season, seeing that they could be without a lot of their big guns. You're going to be without Dillon Brooks for at least 1 game. And if he gets another technical foul, he'll be suspended the next game. You're going to be without Ja Morant for the next 2 games at least. The 3rd game will be against us in Memphis. So the Warriors play Memphis will be the 3rd game. So after the 2-game Grizzly suspension, if there's furthermore games that he will miss, they will speak on it. But it's a good chance now that he won't even play the game against the Warriors coming up on the 9th? On the 8th or the 9th of March. So it's a good chance that he won't even play that game. So with that being said, there's a chance for the Warriors to go up. There's a chance for the Suns to go up. There's a chance for the Grizzlies to go down. The Clippers have not been playing too good since the acquisition of Russell Westbrook. They are 0-5 since Westbrook has joined the team. They lost again to the Sacramento Kings last night. The Clippers are not looking like a contending team right now. And I'm not the Russell Westbrook basher like everybody else is, especially guys like Skip Bayless, who loves to it's like he gets a hard on when he bashes Russell Westbrook. But I'm not going to bash Russell Westbrook as much as it's more of a teams have to learn how to play with this guy if you're going to bring him aboard. And if you want him to be the assist guy like he was with the Oklahoma City Thunder, that has to be his role. And you should now have a conversation with him. Hey, you should only take layups. Layups are your only thing. No jumpers. Distribute the ball to Kawhi and Paul George. But as of right now, this team is looking a little lost. Terrence Mann has not been as not efficient, but he hasn't been as aggressive as he was before the Russell Westbrook acquisition. Really, before the whole trade deadline happened, Terrence Mann was really their 2nd and 3rd best player on the team, and he hasn't been playing as well since the new acquisitions. Norman Powell, who's a great shooter, a great basketball player coming off the bench, really is a top 2 candidate in my eyes for 6th man of the year. To me, it's still Jordan Poole, even though he's been starting, but a quick number 2 for me would be Norman Powell. He hasn't been playing up to par either since the new acquisitions happened. What's his name? Eric Gordon has been playing decently. It's like he's got a rejuvenated career ever since he's left the Houston Rockets. So he's worked for them, but they have to figure out what to do, and Paul George has to now be number 2. I read a comment where he has admitted that he don't think that he can now be a number 1 on a championship team, which means that he feel like there's some decline going on with himself. Paul George is still a great, capable player. He can still be a great number 2 player to Kawhi, but you're going to need Kawhi. You're going to need Russell Westbrook, and you're absolutely going to need Paul George if this team is going to get anywhere in the playoffs. If not, it's going to be another disappointing season for the Los Angeles Clippers. Who else do we have? Let's give props to the Sacramento Kings once again, who continues to win basketball games. Mike Brown, if it's not Mazzulla out of Boston, then Coach of the Year this year should be Mike Brown. Mike Brown absolutely should win Coach of the Year. Not Mike Malone, he's won it already. Not Mike Budenholzer, he's won it already. This award, Coach of the Year, with 18 games remaining on the season should go to Mike Brown and the job he's done with the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings have remained the 3rd seed pretty much all season. They're 37-25, 12 games over 500. They're on a 5-game winning streak right now. They're surging heading into the playoffs. They're going to end their, 14-year playoff drought. They're going to end it this year thanks to Mike Brown. So give the Sacramento Kings credit. I think De'Aaron Fox just went out with a little minor injury, so they're playing without him, and they're still winning basketball games. Domantas Sabonis has been a godsend for the Sacramento Kings. Harrison Barnes, former Golden State Warrior, has now finally been playing up to par since Mike Brown has got him playing to the satisfaction of what a small forward his size should be playing as. Consistently on a consistent nightly basis, they have usually 3 players that's scoring 20 points. And the other guy that you got to give props for on that Sacramento Kings team, since he's been, was he traded there? Was he signed there? Maybe he signed there in the offseason. Malik Monk has been fantastic for the Sacramento Kings coming off the bench. What he has done, being able to help De'Aaron Fox. What was it? The game against the Clippers where he had 42 and De'Aaron Fox had 40, and they scored 175 points to beat the Los Angeles Clippers. The first game, I think this was February 27th, the 28th, right before March started. So that was great to see the team a little bit up north being able to snap their playoff drought, one, and then see them playing the way that they play with the coach that we had, our defensive coordinator that we had last year, Mike Brown. Kudos to Mike Brown. I believe that he totally deserves to win that Coach of the Award of the year. I'm going to hamper that down until I see that he wins it, or until, they hand that award out to whoever they give it to. But again, Coach of the Year should go to Mike Brown. We talked about the Suns, the Dallas Mavericks. They have a great 1-2 combo, but what do they have after Kyrie and after Luka? And that's going to be the question to end the season. Do they have enough defense to be able to win games with just the guys that they have? They traded Dorian Finney-Smith, and he's the reason why they got Kyrie. But he was their main defender. They really don't have anybody else that can defend. Josh Green's not a defender. Dwight Powell's not a defender. What's my guy name? Tim Hardaway Jr. is not a defender. So they really don't have defenders like that. Reggie Bullock is not a defender. These are all great 3-point shooters, great offensive players, but they can't play defense. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing for Jason Kidd and his Dallas Mavericks team. We all know Jason Kidd is a defensive coach. So how will he get these guys to buy in, especially heading into the later parts of this season and even into the postseason, as they sit right now at 33-31 on the season? The last couple teams, I'm not too concerned about. The Timberwolves. I'm not concerned at all about the Utah Jazz or the Pelicans, because the Pelicans and the Jazz right now are 2 games under 500. Kind of giving the Warriors a little cushion now to be able to go out and, even if they do lose a game against the Milwaukee Bucks and the Suns, it's not going to hurt them as much as it would have maybe 2 weeks ago, and continuing that trend of gameplay where you win 2, you lose 3, win 1, you lose 2. You know what I mean? Instead of continuing that trend, they actually won 5 in a row. So they gave themselves cushion to be able to lose a game and not lose position. Right now, they hold, a game over the Dallas Mavericks. It's really 2 games. For Dallas to jump them, it has to be 2 games. The Wolves are 2.5. So the Warriors kind of are solid right now. The game against the Lakers is still going to be a very important game. Can't take your foot off the pedal for the Golden State Warriors to maintain this 5th seed and even try to get higher if the Memphis Grizzlies start to drop with the turmoil that they have going on out there. Let's see. We gave as far as the coaching portion of the show, we gave a lot of the kudos earlier on during the review session, talking about their adjustments. And I just think that, just to add on to that, if Steve Kerr, Kenny Atkinson, Ron Adams, Coach G, Jamanella, those guys could continue this trend of maybe the first half. I get it. Other teams can come out hot, let them think they're hot, but then you come up with a game plan for the second half, and that ends up being the new trend of the Warriors. I'm all for it. I'm all for it all day. I won't be bashing Steve Kerr anymore. I just felt like there were times earlier on in the season where he was lackadaisical as a coach. And that's just off observations, not trying to bash. But again, I like to give credit when credit is due and give guys their kudos. Steve Kerr is still a championship coach, whether